They're just getting acclimated. You know what that means, acclimated? The water coming here is dead.
What's up, gang? What's happening? What do you say we get right into it? Let's hop right into it. We don't have too much time to waste, and I appreciate you taking the time out of your day joining me once again on the broadcast. My name's Boston Brian. This is the Blunt Politics Podcast, a little political podcast that could, just calling out the mainstream media, all the bullshit, the propaganda, the nonsense, the corruption. We're trying to do our part here. What's going on, chat? How's everybody doing? How's everybody feeling? Good to see you, unfortunate altar boy. Good to see you, Tom. Don't get into too much trouble there. Looks like he's getting yelled at for the old texting in the physical therapy. But great to see you. Thank you for checking in. What's going on, Gamer? What's up, Sammy? Yep, we'll be talking about Todd Blanche today. We'll look at a few clips we expected. Kind of the cowardice shown by the Republicans there, especially between Cornyn and Tillis. They kind of decided to take Todd Blanche's word for it, where he kind of put it in writing finally that the DOJ wasn't going to have that Donald Trump slush fund. It wouldn't become a thing. So they've taken his word for it. Doesn't matter that he used to be or still is Donald Trump's personal attorney. But, we got a couple clips. I'm sure Aaron Rupar has a couple clips we can take a look at as well. What's up, Nine Inch Nails? What's happening? Lee, what's going on? Epstein Files. Again, thank you for keeping the spotlight on those. Making sure that doesn't filter into the background as well. What's up, Sammy? What's up, Jackie? We got a couple Sammys in there today. What's up, Jimmy Two Soups? How you doing, brother? What's going on, everybody? What's up, Sean O? What's up, Eileen? How are you? What's up, Flipper? Kevin? Carol? Everybody, the whole crew's here today. I appreciate you. What's up, John? Trina over there on Twitch. Everybody, a big shout out to everybody on Twitch. Thank you to everybody watching, no matter where you're watching, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitch, Substack, anywhere that you're watching. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Bunch of things we're going to be discussing. Like I said, Todd Blanche going to be one of them. What's going on from Ontario? Let me know where you're watching from too in the chat. I always like to see where you guys are watching from. So much appreciated. A couple of the topics today. What are we going to be talking about? So obviously the Democratic primaries that are going on, and I think about 5 states, if I'm not mistaken, today. So we'll take a look at what's going on with that situation. Obviously, we're going to touch base on what is and continues to be the most delusional, the most corrupt administration in the history of the world. Donald Trump having the worst poll numbers you could possibly have right now. Literally, I believe his poll numbers are worse right now than they were after January 6th. So we're talking about an insurrection where, his sycophants decided to storm the Capitol because they didn't like the results of a free and fair election. So they decided to try to stop the certification. So that whole thing, remember that when the president decided to, didn't want to listen to the election, said it was stolen, all that. Remember that? Well, he's got worse poll numbers now than he did just after that. But he's gone on a True Social to tell everybody he's got the best poll numbers he's ever had, guys. Never had poll numbers this high. It's unbelievable. It's crazy what the fake news media keeps reporting. It's amazing what all of these different pollsters and outlets and agencies continue to find out and come up with as far as the sentiments of the American people. All of it's bullshit, apparently, because Donald Trump and his internal poll numbers are showing that he has the highest possible poll numbers that you could have. So we'll take a look at that bullshit. We have Scott Bessent directly trying to manipulate the market once again, saying that a deal is going to be done between Iran and the United States, if not today, tomorrow. So it's going to be any second now, right? So he's kind of taken the place of Barack Ravid and Trey Yingst over there on Fox News to some extent. So we'll be taking a look at his comments, basically the market's response to it as well. We have the main headline today, which is the Reuters report coming out that the United States has virtually expended all of its long-range precision missiles in Iran. And this is on top of the interceptor problem that we've been talking about with the THAADs and the Patriots. Obviously, that's a continued issue, not only for the United States, obviously for Ukraine as well. So now add that into that. Like, it's looking worse and worse by the day. You can tell now why Donald Trump was screaming and yelling and bitching and complaining at his Iran war planners behind the scenes, as was reported by outlets such as Fox News. We also have Dennis Davidoff giving us some updates on the Wildberry bingo card. So if everybody has their Wildberries bingo card ready, we're going to be taking a look. I think the number's up to 15 now, different Wildberries that have been hit. And then I have a Preston Stewart video as well, kind of detailing the futility of what's going on between the U.S. and Iran. So lots to get into, lots to talk about. Hit that like button if you could. We have a Venmo up here in the corner, up right here in this general vicinity, up in this area right here. It's the quickest and easiest way for you to get the $1 or $2 that we ask for. If you want to support the show, if you can support the show, $1 or $2 is all we ask for. Anything above and beyond that, we're not going to stand in your way. If you think we're deserving of such, then thank you guys so much. But really, $1 or $2 from everybody in the chat would go to change this community's, abilities dramatically. So if you could do that, that would be fantastic. There's also YouTube memberships that you can sign up to just underneath me. You can gift out those memberships. You can sign up at Patreon. Patreon.com/Boston Brian. Salute to all the patrons that were there at the Zoom last night. Very much appreciated. Again, thank you for your patience on kind of putting the Zooms on hold while I was in Ukraine. But yeah, anybody can sign up at any one of the levels there at the Patreon. Those two communities, the YouTube membership community and the Patreon community, are going to be the ones that I'm gonna, kind of randomly pick names from as far as, getting the souvenirs and gifts that I brought back from Ukraine. Still trying to figure out how to do it in a fair way. I don't know. It's I'm gonna have to have a really big hat, I guess, to put everybody's name into it. But we'll figure something out. I do promise. So thank you so much to everybody signed up at those communities. You can also send in super chats or a super sticker in the old YouTube chat here as always. So very much appreciate you guys as always. And the mods. Thank you to the mods. Oh, thank you, David. Good to see you last night, my friend. Very much appreciated for kicking this off in the right direction. But what do you say we start off today taking a look at some of the primaries that are going on? Let me see if I can throw this on your screen. This is an NPR article just kind of detailing and generalizing what's going on today as far as Democratic primaries. Let me see. Nope, that's not the one that I wanted. Well, it is the one that I wanted, but I don't. Yeah, let's go here. All right. So, like I said, this is NPR. 5 states have primary elections on Tuesday today. These are the races to watch. Like I said, I just want to get everybody caught up and kind of educated on what's taking place today, who's in the lead, who's not in the lead, who's favored, who's not favored, that type of thing. So this talks about how 5 states hold primaries on Tuesday, again today, with competitive House and Senate races that could ultimately decide control of Congress next year. Kansas, Michigan, Missouri, Virginia, and Washington are all holding contests. A number of Democratic primaries are pitting congressional incumbents against progressive challengers. Redistricting efforts will also influence the races. It says Missouri Republicans redrew their map to squeeze Democrats, while Virginia moved its primary from June to August for a Democratic redistricting push that courts ultimately threw out. Then it goes on to say here that Democrats choose between moderates and progressives, which is, kind of what we're seeing in a lot of these high or the high profile races, at least. In Michigan, as a lot of people have been talking about with El Said, let's see here. It says in Michigan, retaining an open Senate seat is seen as a must win for Democrats hoping to retake the chamber next year. But first, voters here will decide between 2 millennial Democrats vying to run the likely nominee. Former Republican Mike Rogers. This fall, the Senate primary has become a test of how candidates farther left on the political spectrum will fare outside liberal cities where they have swept elections this fall. So again, touching base on Zohran Mamdani's success. We've seen success out there in Colorado as well. Obviously the blue wave, so to speak, as far as the special elections and other things that have been on the ballot in other places like California that we've talked about, where it's kind of been, an overwhelming success for the Democrats, for the blue side, as far as those is concerned. Well, now we're getting down to, in a lot of these races, is it going to be the establishment candidate, the AIPAC-backed candidate that has, millions, tens of millions of dollars of AIPAC money being thrown in behind her, to try to, again, sway that race? Or is it going to be the El Sayed, the progressive, the one that wants to see the best for the working class people of this country? And again, is seemingly the direction in which the people of this country want to go. The popularity, the wheels are spinning now as far as that's concerned. So let's see here. It also goes on to say the race has turned tense as multiple fights about the direction of the party collide. It says with Democrats sensing the tide turning after nearly 2 years of the power, should Democrats go with tested centrist candidates with cross-aisle appeal or take a chance on insurgent campaigns with the potential to tap into the anger motivating many voters? So again, this article here, directly written by NPR. I don't know. Let's see here. You could probably figure out. It says Maham Javid and Sam Gringlas. But you can tell the way that they speak about this. They're still trying to paint this as like a fringe, far left type of thing that's taken over the country. They're not using the same rhetoric as the Republicans are using right now. Marxist, communist, socialist takeover of this and that. But you can tell they're still trying to put a spin on it. So let's see here. we were up here. It said, should the Democrats go with the tested centrist candidates with the cross-aisle appeal or take a chance on the insurgent campaign? So the insurgent campaigns is the way that they try to represent that. It says Rep. Haley Stevens flipped a suburban House seat in 2018 and served on the team President Obama tasked with rescuing the auto industry during the Great Recession. She has pledged to fight Trump and has focused her support on Michigan manufacturing. Again, just kind of giving you the generalization of the candidates here. Her opponent is the epidemiologist Abdul El Sayed, former health director for Detroit and later Wayne County. El Sayed lost a primary for governor against Whitmer and hosted a public health podcast. His platform includes embracing Medicare for all and cutting the influence for corporate money in politics, constantly slamming the millions being spent against him by the pro-Israel lobby group AIPAC, which again has shown up to support his opponent big time here, which again, tens of millions, $46 million is the number being put out there. The last time I saw, says Stevens has the money advantage, like we've been talking about, and has outspent El Sayed in the airways by at least 8 times, according to Ad Impact, including groups aligned with AIPAC. El Sayed is leading the polls for the primary contest, yet Haley supporters argue that she has a better chance of winning in a purple state in November's general election, which has not been drawn out with what we've seen in other states. It says Michigan is a true swing state. Joe Biden won Michigan in 2020. Donald Trump carried the state in 16 and 24. The latter election, even as Democrat Alyssa Slotkin narrowly won an open Senate seat that had been held by Democrats. Another test of Democrats' party direction will be in Michigan's 13th House District, which covers most of Detroit. Democratic Rep. Sri Thanadar, the multimillionaire businessman, is running against State Rep. Donovan McKinney, a progressive Detroit native. McKinney has the endorsement of Senator Bernie Sanders. Rashida Tlaib has made Thanadar's wealth and corporate ties the center of his more left-leaning campaign. Republicans are fielding a handful of low-profile candidates, but according to Cook Political Report, whoever wins the Democratic primary is heavily favored in November, thus, again, showing the sentiment of the entire country and how pissed off they are at what we're seeing. Obviously, the lies of people that believe those lies at whatever point from Donald Trump, now seeing the complete and total opposite happen and take place in their daily lives. So it also goes on and says that Amanda McKinney, the Yakima County Commissioner, has an endorsement from President Trump. Businessman and former candidate Gerard Sessler has campaigned the anti-establishment outsider. Republican State Senate Matt Bunkie is more moderate. And then it goes on to describe and talk about the different races, other races to watch. Virginia's election day. Kansas, as we've talked about, a crowd of Democratic candidates are competing in a primary in Kansas on Tuesday for a Senate seat. According to Kansas Health Public Radio, the winner will challenge Republican incumbent Roger Marshall in November. Kansas gubernatorial and House races have also contest between establishment candidates and outsider challenges, much like we've seen in a lot of these other races to match the national trend in both Republican and Democratic primaries. So again, just kind of touching base on a little bit of what's going on here with the Democratic Party, the primaries that have taken place today. This is probably the most prominent one that's being talked about, El Sayed and Haley Stevens in Michigan. And again, $46 million of pro-Israel money, I think, should be enough to tell you everything you need to know. Somebody that says that Israel comes to her in her dreams. Like, I'd rather you be dreaming about the United States and how we could save the people of the United States, protect the people of the United States, not spend billions and billions and billions of dollars helping in a genocide. I'd rather you be dreaming about that instead of dreaming about another country that continues to, again, perpetuate a genocide that uses our taxpayer money, our weapons, and everything else. I think, Medicare for all, I think taxing and getting rid of, the advantages that the billionaire class has and the rest of his platform is much better suited for the people of Michigan and this country in general. So I would absolutely say that Abdul Sayed and his lead that he has here is right where he needs to be and right where he should be as far as that's concerned. But, we'll see how this plays out. We'll see what the numbers say. We'll see what the people say in a lot of these different states. And we'll see if the momentum continues for, again, the blue collar people of this country. Like, it seems to be the more that you go out there and want to espouse and want to help the blue collar people, the people that, again, struggle to put food on the table every single day, the people that live paycheck to paycheck, the people that have had the same jobs for, 15, 20, 25 years just to try to keep some stability, even though it doesn't cover the bills. even though it's not, doing what they needed to do as far as that job. There's no, they've hit the ceiling on that job. There's really no future in it. They're making as much as they're going to make, but they're too afraid to switch up their life because of the economic cost right now, because of the pressures being placed upon them. And it's just the uncertainty of what would happen if you even attempted something like that. So seems to be a lot of momentum behind the candidates that, again, are not taking the huge amounts of PAC money, that are not affiliated or associated with the Israeli lobby in any way, shape, or form, and are espousing things like Medicare for all, want to help, take billionaires out as far as, again, them stomping on the backs of the blue-collar workers in this country so they could buy a 14th yacht. A lot of other things that are associated and affiliated with the campaign and the policies as well. But it seems to be that's what's had momentum. So we'll see if that continues to play out. But a lot of, or at least 5 primary elections taking place on Tuesday, as far as this is reported. But let's see if we can dive into this one, because this is a little bit more lighthearted. I know we talked about the Jeanine Pirro and Donald Trump feud on one of the recent shows. We talked about how, obviously the DOJ dropping charges against former Olympian. Donald Trump not happy about that, taking the Truth Social to talk about how not happy he is with Jeanine Pirro. We'll actually look at a press conference that he had in the Oval Office where he basically ripped into Jeanine Pirro for about, 7 or 8 minutes. We don't have to cover the entire thing, but I find it really, really hilarious that somebody like Jeanine Pirro could simp for Donald Trump for so long, both on Fox News and now in her position in the administration, and still be found on the outside, still like a baby they didn't want, be dropped on the doorstep of, the media to kick around for a little bit. That's pretty much what they're doing here to Jeanine Pirro. But this was, I think, icing on the cake. This is somebody sticking the candles in the birthday cake and ultimately lighting those candles for Jeanine Pirro, because she had to bring so much fucking evidence, it seemed like, because she was caught leaving the White House with a trolley of a couple boxes worth of evidence that allegedly that she went in there to show Donald Trump, to prove to him that it was the contractor's fault, that it was poorly done, that it wasn't done correct to begin with, and it had nothing to do with box cutters or crazy liberals or crazy progressives getting in there and slicing up 300 feet of the reflecting pool. So there's a picture, which is this one right here, that people are talking about, where it looks like Jeanine Pirro is, I don't know, at some point that should be the view that she has for the rest of her life, I think, just facing the other way. You know what I mean? The bars, the metal bars, and her behind them. I think that's a good place for Jeanine Pirro and everybody else in this administration. So if she could get used to this look, if she could get used to this view, that would be fantastic. But you can see there, she's got a big white box, and then she's got what looks to be like a, almost like a carry-on suitcase type of thing. And it's been reported that she brought all of the evidence involved in the cases to try to prove to Donald Trump again that it had nothing to do with people cutting the pool and everything to do with the fucking morons that he hired to do the pool in the first place. But this is CBS. Says Pirro bought a box of evidence to show Trump what caused reflecting pool damage. It says the top federal prosecutor in the nation's capital carted a box full of evidence to the White House on Monday in a bid to prove to President Trump that the damage to the reflecting pool was caused by shoddy construction and not by vandals. Sources familiar with the matter told CBS News on Tuesday. U.S. Attorney for D.C., Jeanine Pirro, a staunch ally of the president, made the case in sometimes a heated private meeting in the Oval Office on Monday, hours after Mr. Trump had publicly rebuked her for dropping criminal charges against Olympic canoeist David Hearn. She was later photographed leaving the White House, as you can see here, carting a large white box and other bags with sources that said contained all of the evidence collected from the Interior Department that exculpated Hearn and several others from criminal vandalism. Spokesperson for Pirro's office declined to comment. Of course they did. But this says Mr. Trump earlier in the day accused Pirro of folding like an umbrella. And we'll take a look at that clip. After her office on Friday filed a motion dismissing the felony case against Hearn. In the motion, prosecutors blamed the Interior Department for holding back critical evidence that they claimed they did not see until they had secured the indictment from the grand jury in D.C. Superior Court. They said the new information that they had received indicated that the damage was caused by a botched installation, as we went over on the previous show, by a contractor, not vandalism, as the president and the Interior Secretary Doug Burgum claim and continue to claim. On Saturday, Burgum said in a post on X, the evidence is clear. Vandals have repeatedly caused damage to the reflecting pool. Again, this is just a sign of sycophancy from Doug Burgum to say that, hey, just to let you know, boss, I'm still an idiot. I'm still on your side. I'm going to sit here and I will sit here and toe the party line. I will lie for you. I know that nobody cut that poll, but I'm going to say that they did, just to let you know whose side I'm still on. Let's get rid of Jeanine Pirro, right? So a lot of people are actually speculating that this was, Jeanine Pirro packing her bags because she got fired, but to my knowledge, it hasn't been reported yet of anything, anything about Jeanine Pirro's firing. She has been getting, kind of raked over the coals by Donald Trump, like I said, as we'll take a look at in a clip coming up. But let's see here. Also goes on to say the U.S. Attorney's Office has also since moved to dismiss criminal charges against 3 others accused of vandalizing the reflecting pool. Pirro's office has suffered a number of high-profile setbacks involving cases related to Mr. Trump's enemies and topics of personal interest to him. Earlier this year, a grand jury uniformly refused to indict 6 Democratic lawmakers for posting a video urging military members not to follow orders that they believe are illegal, which obviously came into play not that much longer. Historically, a grand jury refusing to return an indictment is highly unusual, let alone having a grand jury unanimously refuse to do so. Then the chief judge for the U.S. District Court of the District of Columbia quashed the grand jury subpoenas issued by Pirro's office to investigate the former Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell and the Fed itself in connection with costly renovation, and statements he made to Congress about that work. It goes on to talk about more failures of Jeanine Pirro and her office recently. But yeah, this is just a very sad sight to say. You know what I mean? Like this is the cult member that went in there to try to have all the evidence to prove to everybody in the cult, or just at least the cult leader, that he was wrong, like that there's nothing to prove anything that he's saying. And then she went out there literally licking her wounds, dragging her tail. Like, didn't work. And it didn't work to the point where this is what, let me see, was this what I wanted? Let me see, was it this one or is it this one? Because he went off on her for about 7 minutes. Yeah, let me go to this one. It was, oh, here we go. So this is, again, 8 minutes and 3 seconds, and the majority of it, as you can see here, this is actually one of Donald Trump's sycophants on Twitter that's posting this. President Trump just absolutely went off for several minutes about charges being dropped against the accused reflecting pool vandal. Another activist judge decided to get involved. We need a ton of impeachments. Jeanine Pirro made a mistake. It was vandalism. So again, this is Trump shitting on Jeanine Pirro, as Jeanine Pirro had about 37 pounds of evidence that she brought to the White House to prove to Donald Trump that he's a fucking moron. But no, he wasn't having it. He wasn't listening. So taking all that into account, let's just go through. I just want to go through a couple minutes of Donald Trump ripping Jeanine Pirro apart on national television. And again, this is what you get, people. This is what you get for being in the cult. No matter how strongly you represent the cult, no matter how strongly you defend the cult, the moment that they think you step out of line, or you're not towing the line hard enough, or, you've slipped up and you're not going to do something that the king ordered you to do, then this is what you get. This is the treatment that you ultimately get. There's no such thing as a safe spot, a safe position. I mean, again, drawing the line of the comparisons back to World War II. I mean, look at the people that were surrounding Hitler, right? I mean, look at the end for Goering. Look at the end for Himmler, right? Both of them trying to get their own deals done with the Allies. Both of them basically threatened, ordered to death by Hitler at the end of things, because Goering, he found out that, Goering had written the letter to Hitler in the bunker, basically stated, hey, nobody can reach you. Nobody knows what the hell is going on. Nobody has any communication with you. So I'm going to take over from here, boss, if it's okay. And then obviously Hitler got upset. That was all spun by, Hitler's people that received the message beforehand, and Bormann, and basically Himmler, similar aspects, similar things where he found out that, he was trying to make his own deal with the Allies and figure out some way to save his neck. And, just that's how it ends for people, no matter how deeply invested you are in the cult. You could even be one of the originators, like one of the main people that is seen as like the founders, the leaders of the cult, and you are still not fucking safe. And this is Donald Trump showing that, proving that to Jeanine Pirro right here, because, again, she wasn't willing to take these cases to court and risk her entire fucking career, right? Basically, it wasn't even allowed, but she at least tried to threaten it. She put it on TV, dragged these people's names through the coals and everything like that. So this is Donald Trump ripping her apart.
Please. Have you spoken to Jeanine Pirro about her decision to drop?
No, Jeanine Pirro made a mistake. It was vandalism. I just told you we did, I think, 78. One of the things was the reflecting pool. Hasn't worked since 1922 because it always leaked. It always leaked from 1922.
What does a reflecting pool have to do to work? I think it just has to reflect. Was the water not reflective? Like, what work does the reflecting pool need to do? You know what I mean? It's a pool of water made to reflect shit around it to give some sort of, visual experience. Like, I'm not sure what work it needs to do. I'm pretty sure it did work. It may have had some faults, some cracks, some leakage, but it worked. I mean, the reflecting pool did reflect, I assure you.
It's the largest, longest pool ever and all that.
Doubt it.
The concept is beautiful, but it always leaked because of the size, because of maintenance, whatever. But it was built in 1922, and from the day it was built, it leaked. Biden spent $58 million.
Biden spent, wait, what?
Hussein Obama spent much more than that. He said,
wait a minute. Is any of that true? Did Biden spend any money on the fucking, hold on, let me see here. Let me see real quick. Real quick. I don't think he spent any money on the, I know Obama did. Well, I definitely don't think it was as much as Trump just said it was, though. Let me see. Yeah, how much money? Let me throw this on your screen. Let me put this back on. The two modern presidents who have directed major dedicated spending packages specifically to overhaul or renovate the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool are Barack Obama, $34 million. So he said it was Joe Biden, $58, and Barack Obama spent much more. So obviously he's wrong, lying, incorrect, delusional. The dementia's kicking in as far as that's concerned. Other administrations and Donald Trump, again, the only two people that it listed. Barack Obama, $34 million. Donald Trump, $16.4. And that's obviously going to have to go up when they redo it for the second, third, and fourth time. It says other administrations handled standard maintenance through General National Park Service operational budgets. See if it lists anybody better. Barack Obama, $34 million, completely reconstructed the pool from 2010 to 2012 using American Recovery and Reinvestment Act stimulus funds. The project replaced the leaking asphalt basin with waterproof concrete, drove 2,133 support pilings to prevent sinking, and added a continuous water recirculation filtration system. Donald Trump, 16.4. We all know the difficulties and struggles from that. Joe Biden, yeah, here we go. Joe Biden, $0. $0. What the fuck's he talking about? Says the Biden administration did not execute or allocate funds for any major overhauls or structural renovations to the pool. The National Park Service received a repair estimate exceeding $100 million during this time, but chose not to move forward. So again, I knew that sounded fucking fishy right when I heard it. So Donald Trump's right there, and I'm sure you can probably double this. So it'll eventually be well more than Barack Obama ever spent on the reflecting pool. You can, if it's not already, right? Judging on how much they've lied about things that they're spending, the cost of things. So it could possibly be in the $30 to $40 million range already, and it's shit. It's ripping up. It's gross. It's disgusting. Needs to be redone. So who knows what the final cost is actually going to be? But for him to say that Joe Biden spent, what do you say, $58 million on the is clearly wrong. False, incorrect. He's delusional. He should be in a home. He's fucking losing his mind, lost his mind. Excuse me. We're well past losing it at this point. But yeah, I knew that sounded fishy as soon as I heard it.
He said, "I have an idea. Let's take the water from the Potomac." So they took the water from the Potomac, and it was putrid. It was putrid. It was a disaster.
Yeah, and you've done much better. It took about 3 days to fungi. It took about 3 days to stagnate.
Disaster. Biden was a disaster. I said, I'm going to get that fixed, along with Doug Burgum and Department of Interior. And we worked hard on that. Now, we worked hard on all 70. It's actually, I think, 81 now. You saw the new horses that just opened by the bridge with the gold. That was the way they were many years ago. Now they look better than they did many years ago.
And again, listen to what he's focused on. Listen to the shit that he's talking about. Like, this is what's actually got his attention. It's not the war in Iran. It's not helping our ally in Ukraine. It's not, making sure that gas prices come down. It's not making sure that the oil market stabilizes. None of that. But he is focused on the Arc de Triomphe, the fucking gold horses, how much he can gild the White House, the ballroom, the Dulles Airport renovation, like all of this shit that is just a complete and total waste of money at this point in time. Not saying that, again, beautification isn't important. Keeping up on the national monuments, and obviously that's shit that we want to see happen, but in due time, right? In the right time, when maybe we have things, a little bit more on track than they are for the American people. But, when you got people being, they're robbing, pillaging, and plundering at all times of the day, and then all of a sudden they're spending billions and billions and billions of dollars, and, these contracts that go into their buddies, and next thing you know, they're 10 times the amount that they were actually fucking quoted as. Like, it's clear what's going on. So we're not getting great work. This isn't like, oh, okay, maybe we can slip them a break on this one. No, this is ridiculous. As we got people starving in the streets, we got gun violence and mass shootings every single day, like all of the things that we could list as far as the problems this country faces. And this dickhead's throwing gold up everywhere like anybody gives a shit at this point in time right now. Fix the roads, fix the bridges, fix the railways, like that stuff. That would be perfect. We don't need gold as we're passing by. We do need to make sure that the potholes are filled in so I can stop putting new sets of tires on every 3-4 months because the fucking roads are shit. You know what I mean? That would be perfect. That would make sense. That would really bring down the amount of money that I have to expend every single year. Like I'm sure, and everybody has, a story to relate on in some way, shape, or form.
But these monuments look better than they did when they were originally built. Not just a little fix-up. We made them the way they were plus, and everyone's so proud. The biggest, one of the bigger jobs was not really the biggest, believe it or not, but one of the biggest was the reflecting pool. And we did a great job. We sandblasted the stone outside. It was granite, so it has a long life. We did a great job. We got very expensive material to put on top of the surface that always leaked because it was stone.
It's fucking falling apart. What are you talking about? It's falling apart. We can see it. This is what this whole hoopla is about. The shit's falling apart. You blamed it on people cutting it. Your own people say that they have no proof that anybody cut it. It's basically because the idiot and the morons that you hired to do so didn't know what they were doing, did it incorrectly. That's like this is what this whole thing is about. This is how delusional and demented this guy is. He still thinks he can get people to believe that this is like the best, like, oh, it was the best job he could possibly do. Couldn't have done it any better. Somebody must have went in there. Freddy Krueger must have went in there and cut a 300-foot gash. There's just no other explanation. He's still trying to go with this.
It was a stone surface, always leaked. And we put it on, and it was beautiful. Now, we have photographs or tapes, like moving cameras, right? We have them where people are on this.
Moving cameras or movie cameras? Either way, I don't think that's what you're trying to say. I don't think that's what you're trying to describe there. It's was it a moving camera? Was the camera moving, or was it a movie camera that was shooting a movie? Because what he's trying to say is that he has video of people vandalizing the pool, which again, we went on and explained it a couple shows ago, where the interior were forced by Donald Trump, where he went on and said this exact thing, to come up with any piece of evidence, any video thing that they could find that remotely even showed somebody dipping their hand in the water. And then they played it on Jesse Waters' show. But the moving videos.
Side, cutting it with a box knife.
Where is that? Where's that video? Because you look like an asshole. You would think, in order to stop yourself from looking like such a giant orange asshole, that you would provide this video. That you would have a giant TV set up on that fucking desk right now, playing this video on a loop if you had a video of somebody in there hacking up the pool. Does anybody in the chat actually think that he wouldn't be playing that, posting that on True Social, having that on a TV behind him on a loop, if he actually had something to prove and said, okay, look, that person's in there cutting up the bottom of the pool? Come on. Like, this is what I mean. Jeanine Pirro's leaving the White House probably at this moment in time simultaneously as Donald Trump's calling her an idiot, basically, with all the evidence that she had just shown to Donald Trump, proving or disproving, I should say, Donald Trump's theory, and proving that it was the contractors that fucked up and nobody went in there and was hacking the bottom of the pool up. There's no 300-foot long gash at the bottom from end to end. None of that shit happened. He's delusional. He's living in fantasy land. And there's no, here, just to prove to you how much in fantasy land this guy's living. This is what he posted on True Social. at a time where he has the worst poll numbers of any president ever. Again, he has worse poll numbers than after January 6th. Let that set in. Let that sink in. He's more unpopular right now than he was after an insurrection. Like, it's fucking insane. And he's posting this. My real polling numbers, not those made up by the fake news media, are the best they've ever been. And why wouldn't they be, with the biggest tax cuts and employment numbers ever, the biggest outside investment in America in world history, totally secure border, a giant victory in Venezuela, denuclearization of Iran, which obviously none of those things have happened yet, but for damn sure the denuclearization hasn't happened. And then special, I can't believe he got it wrong again. It's amazing he continues to get the name of the country that he's at war with wrong. We're going to have to read that again. We're going to have to read that. It was a giant victory in Venezuela and the denuclearization of
Islamic Republic of Japan.
That one. That was the one that I wanted to go with. The Islamic Republic of Japan. Unparalleled respect and success throughout the world and much more. Don't believe the radical left's fake poll numbers. They are crooked and corrupt. Crooked being capitalized, corrupt being capitalized. Just like the country being capitalized, destroying being capitalized, Democrats being capitalized, are not capitalized. No respect for the R. I don't know. Are catching strays in this for some reason. Crooked capitalized again and corrupt capitalized again. Vote all capitalized. Republican for greatness in America all capitalized. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. But this is fucking delusional shit. This is delusion at the tops of delusion right here. Okay, this is the president of the United States showing and proving to everybody that he's not living on the same planet. He is just not. He is in an alternate universe. The people surrounding him have him coddled so tightly, so wrapped up in a fucking bubble of the diaper, the shitty soiled diaper he's probably sitting in right now, that he just doesn't understand. He is quite literally Hitler at Berchtesgaden, right? He is sitting at the top of his chalet looking, and probably not at the top of his chalet, but where was it? Because this was another funny thing that people are pointing out. Was it this one? Because I slipped up the other day on the show. I got to admit, I slipped up the other day, and I kind of said that he's been, not seen golfing as much. Well, I lied, because apparently he's been out there playing a shitload because he wants people to believe that he just won his 43rd club championship, and he shot a 70. And we can get into that after, whether or not Donald Trump shot a 70, which is absolutely asinine. But that's, this is the moment where he received his trophy. Funny, he's never won a tournament outside of the properties that he owns, which is strange. You'd think somebody with a golf career that long would have won anything outside of a property that he owns. But nobody's asking questions. The old foot wedge, right? The old eraser at the end of the pencil, probably the best club in Donald Trump's bag, as we've seen. We've seen him shank shots. We've seen his caddy pick up and drop balls. We've seen him use his little, his finger putter when he misses the putt, the little tap in to make sure that it does go in. I mean, the guy's just a crooked, cheat, scumbag, fraudster, con man all the way around. And now you add on just the thickest layer of dementia on top of that, and then you get kind of the current moment. But yeah, it's just time after time after time. He's just proven himself to be completely out of touch with reality, just living on in a different planet entirely. And this is one of those moments where everybody's talking about his pathetic and historically low polling numbers, and how everybody in the country basically sees it for what it is right now, a big giant lie, a big giant scam. They've been hacked. They've been propagandized, the MAGA people, and they're recognizing it now, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, the Tucker Carlsons, the rest of these people that, at least the prominent ones that have come to see the light. Well, the rest of those people and the underlings, they're noticing it too. Like they're filling up their tanks and gas. They're having to pay for their heating oil. Like they're seeing the prices of groceries. Like they understand how much they've been lied to and how much they have looked like dickheads, basically. And I tell you, when what was his name? Vivek Ramaswamy was kind of run off the stage the other day. When that starts happening to more and more of these people, like when you have, and I think there was a video that I watched. It was like an Instagram short, maybe a reel or something like that, where a comic was questioned on stage. Hey, did you vote for Trump? And nobody now, I don't want to say nobody, but it's it's getting harder and harder for people to say, yes, I voted for Trump in 16 or 2020 or 24. Like that's a little sign of progress right there, I'd say, right? I'd say that's just the tiniest sign of progress where people don't want to go out there and admit it. They're just ashamed to the point where they will lie through their teeth, even though they know that people in the audience that know who they are, know exactly who they voted for. It's been talked about in conversations, but they just can't bring themselves to admit it if they know that the camera's rolling, if there's a microphone, or if, again, there's just an audience sitting there in front of them. I think that's, again, just a small little indicator of what the sentiment of this country is right now. So let me see. We'll go back here because I want to hear him drip into Jeanine Pirro just a little bit more before we dive off of this and into the next topic here.
So now I'm not saying I was 100% thrilled with the contractor, but the contractor was rushing. We wanted to get it open for July.
He was Russian? You hired a Russian contractor? Fuck me, dude. I mean, we know you love Vladimir Putin, but to just straight up admit as the president of the United States that you hired a Russian contractor to do the reflecting pool at the Lincoln Memorial is fucked up, man. I mean, come on. Don't you understand that they're in a direct war against one of our allies and you hired one of them to do the pool? But no, obviously he's clearly referencing the fact that he put, an impossible timeline on a company that already had no clue what they were doing, which again just shows you why you've seen so many problems with the reflecting pool time and time again. We've reported on problem after problem after problem, cost increase after cost increase. And this is why. There was rushed. He was putting demands on that weren't fucking possible. He hired a buddy to do it, a guy in a company that knew nothing about national monuments, historic monuments, or preservation of them whatsoever. I mean, clearly, we were going to get the result that we're seeing right now. And Donald Trump here is at least in some way forced to recognize that the contractor fucked up. You know what I mean?
And we got it done. But in addition, there was vandalism. Number one, look at the grass, where the grass was all knocked out with a very, very powerful ingredient that we know very well what it is. I'm not going to say.
What is it? Spit it out there, Chief. What's that ingredient?
The name, because people get ideas. But
I'm sorry, you don't think people know like what chemicals kill grass? Right? You don't think somebody knows what they could go right now and spray on grass if they wanted to create some, design in whatever dead grass, and it would show at the end of it? You think you're releasing information to the world that nobody knows? Fucking, I'm telling you, he's gone. It's over. It's over, folks. It is over. Revo backwards. Over.
Put a terrible phrase. I won't say that either, but a terrible phrase on a massive.
I'll say it. Can I say it? 8647 is what they said. 8647 is what they said. The ones that he calls letters. The letters in the grass. No, it's 8647. All of that is being numbers. We'll teach you that when you get you in front of the television at the home one day. we'll teach you there's a B in dumb as well.
Piece of grass that we had just replaced. Killed the grass. We had to replace the grass. A lot of grass. In addition, they took knives or cutters and they cut the material. It's material. And they put their hands and they pulled it. And
no, they did not. Absolutely at no point did anybody do even remotely anything close to what he's describing right now. Not happened. Has not happened. He's delusional. He is an old, child-brained moron right now. You know what I mean? Who believes this, and whoever continues to stand behind him on this, those are the people riding the Titanic down, okay? Those are the people that are going to have to make the decision after Donald Trump's no longer breathing what they're going to do with their life, because clearly they have nothing to give. They're there solely to suck the teat of Donald Trump, solely to live on the boot of Donald Trump. And once that boot is dead, they're going to be lost. They're going to be they don't want to live. They have no more purpose, right? So it continues to get more obvious the levels of delusion that this guy is living under and how much it's costing us, right? The danger that we're under right now because of this guy in his delusion.
There was also some maintenance things that we would have routinely fixed, but we had that up and it was perfect. And then you had the bubblers, which get rid of the what forms in the water. And that works great, but they turned it off because of the fight, because it competed a little bit of noise during the fight. They turned it off, and it grows very rapidly in the water. But that actually,
he's admitting to it. He's admitting that the UFC fight on the White House lawn and the fact that they had to turn off the aerators or whatever the hell they were is another reason as to why the algae grew so quick. So he's quite literally admitting that the extravagant fucking display he put on the White House lawn with the UFC fight was another direct reason why the degradation of the reflecting pool happened so quickly. So again, tell me how it was vandalism. Like, where are these videotapes? Where are the moving tapes? Where are these moving tapes that you suggested that you had that I know would be blasted all over Fox News if you had these things?
It works very well. And that's all. So now we're just about set to reopen it. And we had to replace cut areas where they cut it and ripped it. But there's a tape, and Jesse Waters, by the way, did a whole big thing on it. There's a tape.
Okay, so he's talking about the exact one that I'm referencing. Hold on here. So we'll do Jesse Waters, Department Interior, reflecting pool, just so I can narrow it down. Reflecting pool tape. I'll show you the exact. This is what he's talking about. This is the evidence. This is the huge evidence that he's talking about. Let me see. Jesse Waters obtains exclusive tapes. Here we go. Yeah, this is the one right here. Oops. Couldn't play this video. Why couldn't I play? The one video I want to play, you couldn't play? For Christ's sakes. All right, let me go find another one. I think it was... Yeah, here it is right here. Play this. Play. This is the big reveal, guys. This is the big... what the fuck is this? I don't want to choose I just want to see one fucking clip, for Christ's sakes. I can spend $40 to watch this shit clip. Doesn't even show anything. It shows nothing. Let me see here. Well, can I play this one at least? John Alpha roasts Jesse Waters for pushing Trump's reflecting pool sabotage conspiracy. Let's see here. They give a clip of it. Wow, I'm just striking out. I just want to see one goddamn fucking clip. Crying out loud. Why won't that one play? Fox won't play. This one won't play. Try this one again, I guess. Nope, couldn't play that one. What do they remove it? They take it down? Try this one again. Play. It's going to make me pay for it? No? We're good? For a second? Come on. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Here we go. It's trying. It's going to do it. Is it going to do it? Doesn't want to do it. Come on. What, do they hide in this? If it's such a fucking prominent tape, right? This is the exclusive. This is the huge breaking evidence that Donald Trump's talking about, and it doesn't want us to listen. It doesn't want us to see it. Can I at least fast forward to the pod maybe and show it? Come on. For crying out loud. Jesus H. Christ. I got the wheel of death. I got the wheel of death going for me. All right. Well, we'll try one more. I'll try one more. And if I can't get it, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Jesse want to investigate. Is this the one right here? Is this it?
Splish Splash were given DC a bath. 47 spent 14 mil restoring.
Yes, this is it right here. This is it. All right. All right. All right.
National embarrassment.
Shut up.
It leaked.
Shut up. Spoken to, son of a bitch. So let's go to the actual here. Here it is right here. Here's the big moment. This is the big reveal, ladies and gentlemen. You guys ready? Sorry, I kept you waiting. I apologize. I tried to, I don't know what was, it was giving me troubles. It was giving me troubles. You saw the troubles it was giving me, so don't give me shit. But this is the U.S. Interior Department's exclusive evidence that proves everything that Donald Trump is saying about a 300-foot gash and somebody getting in there with a box cutter and a machete, and I'm pretty sure they had a backhoe at some point. You'll see it all right here in this breaking clip that Jesse Waters reported on 3 weeks ago at this point, 2-3 weeks ago, that we called out as being ridiculous. But here it is. Check it out. Save it. Save the flavor.
Got the tapes. The Department of Interior gave us a look at individuals suspected of vandalizing the reflecting.
Don't blink.
Now, we haven't been able to verify the video, but take a look. June 19th, a male,
Don't look.
blue shirt, reaches in, stays there for a little while. He goes back down, comes
with
back
nothing
up
in his hand
multiple
that you can
times.
see.
What's he doing? Then a female.
He's probably wondering why the construction company that did this and was hired to do this was such shit that in such a short time period after they were done, it was already ripping up. Maybe it was playing with the fucking the bottom of the pool that's been flapping and waving in the water for quite some time. Maybe he's playing with the algae. Who the fuck knows? But what I can assure you is that's not proven beyond a shadow of a doubt, beyond reasonable doubt, that people were in there slicing and dicing the middle of the pool, right? Donald Trump's gone back and forth from it's, in the middle of the pool that you can see the slices and dices. Now all of a sudden it's the edges. And it only turned to the edges after the Interior Department came out with this video where it's like, oh, it's the edges. It's got to be the edges. I know I said the middle, and it was a big gash right down the middle from end to end, but, it's the edges. But this is the big reveal. A person sticking their hand in the water. That's it.
Reaches in.
Now a woman, she reaches in broad daylight with millions of people around. Cops up here, which looks to be people in a high visibility vest, construction being done. You got cones down here on the bottom of the screen. Couldn't be more people around if you wanted them to be. You know what I mean? There's actually workers in the pool. See this guy right here? Look at it. There's actually workers in the fucking pool all around. You can see him up here too. There's another one. I'm sure they're probably scraping the algae off. So in the midst of all that happening, he wants us to believe that this is evidence of somebody going into the pool and cutting it up with a box cutter and slicing and dicing. Literally the same thing that David Hearn was arrested for, literally just sticking his hand in the water. There's footage of, I think it's an English reporter, some woman, a journalist, that was doing the same thing, just kind of in the water, playing with the, the floating chunks and the ones that were kind of half still connected to the bottom and stuff. And they had the cops come over to her and threaten her with a ticket. And she was like, well, I'm just doing a report. I was just seeing, seeing what was what the algae looked like, seeing what the bottom looked like. I didn't do it. You know what I mean? Like, just because I had my hand in the water doesn't mean I did this. I wasn't responsible for this happening. But this is the video that Donald Trump's referencing here.
Sets the bag down, dives in a little deeper. And we don't know who
dives in a little deeper. She got her fucking hand in the water. Dives in a little deeper. You'd make you think she was fucking doing a free dive, like she did a 1.5 into the reflecting pool before she was seen slicing and dicing up the bottom of the reflecting pool. I mean, this is the footage.
Know who these people are. No one was stopped or questioned by police, so no arrests. And we don't have the police report yet. But what are they doing with their...
Oh, what are they doing? What everybody else is doing. Wondering how our fucking president could be so incompetent that the reflecting pool could be this fucking piss poorly done. That's what they're wondering. But, I knew there was no new footage that had come out. I just didn't know specifically that I was referencing that exact video. But there's got to be a reason. You'd think there'd be a reason why he's not playing that right now for the crowd. Why is he not playing that for the press? Right? If that's the deal breaker, right? If that's what proves beyond a reasonable doubt that he's correct, that these people were in fact, hacking up the pool, why is he not playing that right now? Because that's not what it proves.
That's out there that I posted on Truth, where you have people leaning over the side, the weakest part because of the flexibility. It moves.
What? Wait a minute. The flexibility of a reflecting pool, it moves? No, it doesn't fucking move. The water moves inside of it. The pool don't move. What are we doing? What are we doing? This is, again, a guy that never did any studies or research on the school project. And he's supposed to be some sort of builder, right? He's supposed to be known as like some sort of construction guru and a builder to his people, to his cult. He doesn't know shit about shit. He couldn't tell you a girder from a fucking nail. This guy has no clue what he's the part that moves as far as the reflecting pool. It's the soft part. It's the part on the edges that it's soft. And it's not soft. What are you talking about? You're soft. Your fucking head's soft.
Very complicated. It moves. And the softest part
is your brain, is your dome piece, is that thing, well, besides the waddle on your neck, is the mush that is right now being held together by those 13 strands of hair that you try to make it look like it's a full head of hair.
Be flexible. And that's the stuff you can cut. And these guys knew what they were doing. And they cut all the way along the base. Cut, cut, cut. Now, When Janine looked at it, it was the day after the 4th of July with the largest fireworks display in the world.
What does that have to do with the pool? What is that? Stay on topic. Stay just for a second. Just for a fucking second on topic. Can you please? Jesus H. Christ. We're talking about the pool. You're lying about the pool. Can you stick to one subject that you're lying about before you go on lying about another subject? It's just like compound lies. You know what I mean? He's just like that dog in fucking Up. Squirrel, squirrel. Anything that just like fires off in whatever left in the empty cavern of space on top of his head. He's like, that's the direction that he just goes off into. The reflecting pool on July 4th, we had fireworks. We had a big display. It's like, settle down, Grandpa.
And the stuff was laying all over the pool, the fireworks, because they used the pool as one of the, and it was all over the.
So they shut off the fucking bubblers for the UFC fight. They used the reflecting pool as a staging spot for their firework display, which anybody that's been involved in any sort of firework display knows there's ashes involved with said fireworks display. So all of those ashes apparently landed in the pool as well, not to mention like the fuses and shit, and probably ones that fired off incorrectly and everything else that I'm sure went in there to degrade the pool even further. Like he's quite literally still admitting how bad of a job he's done, not only in constructing this and reconstructing it or whatever, but also taking care of it in the meantime. Like I don't know if he notices. I don't know if he knows this. He thinks this is a good thing. Like, yeah, we used it for the fireworks display. It was ashes all over the thing. It was a shit show.
It was the day after, very shortly thereafter. But that was working beautifully, and it was vandalized. And if you look at the tape, now the tape isn't a great tape in the sense that it's a little hard to say who it exactly was.
No, you think maybe a little grainy, doesn't show shit, can't tell what, in fact, anybody's doing, even the people standing around. It's that grainy, and from that far away, you can't tell. Because we just watched it. I just showed. You're not showing it. I know you're not showing it. You're not going to show it because you can't show it. You'd look like an asshole if you tried to say that proved anything of what you're now talking about. But I showed my chat. My community knows how dumb you sound right now. So this is him like, yeah, it's I'd show you the video, but it's tough to get from. It's difficult to burn from a CD to VHS. It's just, if I knew how to do that, it takes its time. So as soon as that process is done, I'll have that out to you guys. It's like unreal.
But it was people cutting this very expensive.
No, it wasn't. No, you can't for a second say that that's what it was. Again, could have been looking at the algae, could have been feeling the algae with their hands, could have been, again, just saying, wow, look at that rubbery substance already peeling off of the bottom. Like, could be anything. Let's just face facts as far as that's concerned, right? Again, which is the reason why he's not playing that for anybody right now.
Material, waterproofing material. Anyway, it looked beautiful. And then they cut it and they vandalized. And we weren't necessarily thrilled with the contractor, but they did a job and they were fixing any problems. But then it got carried away because the judge was extremely unfriendly to Janine. And frankly, I think she choked because the judge was really vicious. Instead of going after the people that did it, the judge went after her and went after her department. And I guess she choked. I don't know what the hell happened.
Are you reconsidering her role?
I don't know what. You're fake news. Don't ever talk again. You're fake news.
You're fake news. Don't ever talk again. What an asshole. What an absolute asshole.
The worst in the business. Fortunately, nobody watches you. But something happened. There was vandalism there. And there was some things from the contractor which we would fix. But it's almost complete. And when it opens, it's incredible. It's really incredible. But remember this, it leaked from 1922. It opened in 1922. They never solved the leak problem because it was stone. And
it's amazing to me. It really is that, like, we're still living in a time where this could actually be put up on Truth Social. Like, this could be put out to the world. Not only this, but the shit that we're listening to right now, this shit. And people are like, yeah, no, that's right. He's right. He's 100% right in what he's saying. It's true. You should see the video. I've seen the video, and it 100% proves what he's talking about. It's like, How do you not know that you look like the biggest asshole ever? Not only this guy, but anybody that follows him at this point, you know? And then we got, like, again, he's dealing with shit like this. He's worried about the pool, the reflecting pool. He's worried about, gold horses, and he's worried about the Arc de Triomphe and all this shit. And we got, like, real serious things going on as far as, militarily, wars are concerned. This was coming out this morning from Reuters. No, I don't want to fucking subscribe to anything. I just want to read an article, for Christ's sakes. Subscribe to Reuters again. No, shut up. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that at all. Anybody else reporting on it? Jesus Christ. Let's see here. 18 minutes ago. Is this the same thing, maybe? U.S. stockpiles of certain precision missiles are almost depleted. Yeah, I guess we'll go with this since NPR doesn't seem to make me want to charge and pay money for a news article, for crying out loud, right? But this is the same simultaneously as Donald Trump's talking about reflecting pools and Arc de Triomphe and ballrooms and Dulles Airport and golden horses and this and that, the other thing. Like, we got this going on top of the THAAD and Patriot interceptors being at, probably the lowest level that most people have ever seen in their lifetimes at this point. Still dealing with China that has missiles, still dealing with Russia that has missiles, still dealing with North Korea that has missiles, Iran that has missiles, and we're talking about stockpiles being at this lower level, and we're moving on from just the interceptors here. Like, we're talking about offensive weaponry here. We're talking about precision long-range missiles that are made to keep our servicemen and women out of harm's way, like, so that they don't have to fly in and over the country and as close to the established target as they normally would if they didn't have these precision long-range missiles. So again, this is not only going to make it so that more of our pilots, right, are going to have to fly deeper into enemy territory if we do ever take on this escalation, this 2-week, plan that, the Admiral was talking about and Donald Trump was considering. We have to put that into consideration as well. So this says, NPR has confirmed that U.S. stockpiles of certain precision missiles are almost depleted as the war in Iran enters its 6 months. 6 months and we're already at this level, and Donald Trump tries to brag about rebuilding the military. Remember how I said, and I was remarking when we went over the current levels of Patriot and THAAD interceptor missiles, and I was looking at the pre-war levels and how many we had. I think it was like somewhere around 2,500 for the Patriot, somewhere around, I want to say 800 maybe or less, maybe about 400, 425 for the THAADs. Like, I thought that was really, really low, considering, again, the amount of enemies that we have, the amount of missiles that our enemies do have, the fact that we need to be ready and able in front as the U.S. military, like, to be engaged in just this 6-month period, this 6-month war, and seeing what we've seen pauses, we've seen breaks, we've seen ceasefires, we've seen, a week where no bombs go, we've seen 13, 14 days in a row where they all fall. Like, this isn't a boots on the ground, all full out like war like we've seen in Iraq, Afghanistan, Vietnam, World War II type of thing. But to be just at 6 months already at these levels is fucking shocking. It really is. So it says, the stockpiles of certain precision missiles are almost depleted as the war in Iran enters its 6th month. The story was first reported by Reuters. So obviously NPR must have a subscription if they got the information from Reuters. It says such weapons play an important role in protecting U.S. service members in the region. Precision missiles like Tomahawks, PRSMs, and ATACMs are running out, according to U.S. official familiar with the data who was not authorized to speak publicly. Stockpiles are expected to take years to replenish. These are offensive missiles and can be fired from hundreds or even thousands of miles away to keep U.S. service members, such as pilots, from having to get close to enemy targets, much like I was just talking about. But many senior military officials and analysts believe the U.S. has a sufficient supply of offensive weapons despite shortages in certain categories. The much bigger concern is, they say, the real possibility of the U.S. running low on defensive weapons like interceptors used to shoot down incoming attack drones or missiles. And we've already seen the trouble posed by Iranian missiles on U.S. bases, even when we do have Patriots and THAAD interceptors still left to shoot down. I mean, to shoot down their missiles. So let's see if this goes on. But no, that's kind of the reporting there. But still, just to see this on top of the reporting of the THAADs and the Patriot missile interceptors, and now we're talking about Tomahawks, ATACMs, more long-range precision weapons that, again, like is described here, was made to keep our service members out of harm's way, make it so that they could attack, they could launch from hundreds, if not thousands of miles away, so that the enemy can't see them, but they can see the enemy, or at least take out the enemy and the target that they were ordered or instructed to take out. So it seems to be getting much, much worse every single time. I'll throw this on the screen. This is reported by the Hormuz letter, just showing you again the insanity, just the delusions in how ridiculously this whole situation has been handled by Donald Trump. This is just going over like his insane posts. Says Trump's Iran strike threats timeline followed by cancellations directly after. So this is probably this is like him tacoing out as well. So it says March 21st, he threatened to hit and obliterate Iranian power plants unless Hormuz reopened within 48 hours. March 23rd, delayed the strike for 5 days, citing productive conversations. March 26th, further delayed the deadline for attacks on Iranian electrical energy facilities to April 6th, saying talks were progressing very, very well. April 5th, extended the deadline again to April 7th. April 7th, is when he warned the whole civilization will die tonight. Hours later, announced a 2-week ceasefire mediated by Pakistan. April 21st, said he expected to, quote, be bombing if talks failed. Later, indefinitely extended the ceasefire after Pakistani appeals. May 5th, paused Project Freedom, U.S. operation to escort ships through the Strait of Hormuz, citing great progress toward a deal. Iran denied having made such progress. May 17th, he warned the clock is ticking. May 18th, paused the plan for strikes after request by Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE. June 11th, said the U.S. would hit Iran very hard tonight and threaten Iran's oil and gas sectors, including Karg Island. Hours later, canceled the whole operation, saying a deal was near. July 25th to the 27th, ordered a new halt on strikes and paused the 13 days of intense daily U.S. strikes to give negotiators another chance. While reports came in of a major shortages of interceptor missiles, Iran also denied to have asked for new negotiations. August 1st, said the U.S. was, quote, locked and loaded and at levels not seen since World War II, which is just absolute horseshit. Like, it's just words at that point. Does he not know the 60,000 or so that we lost in Vietnam, all of the deaths and sacrifice and boots on the ground that was seen in the 20 years of Afghanistan, the years in Iraq, the Gulf Wars? Like, it's ridiculous to think that like this in any way compares to any of those, as far as not to mitigate obviously the impact or the losses that we've seen, but to compare it to world is just asinine. It's just asinine. August 4th, set new deadline to giving Iran until at the end of Tuesday, which is today, to finalize a Strait of Hormuz agreement with Oman or face, quote, devastating airstrikes before, quote, decapitation. Says we will likely see the same pattern today. So again, just showing you the ultimate delusions of our leader here, the president, and the way that he's handled this, the amount of times that he's tacoed and bitched out. It really is remarkable that anybody still markets. So we've seen, let me throw this on the screen, because we've seen the markets being manipulated time and time again by people like Donald Trump, Pete Hegseth, Scott Bessent, anybody that they could possibly, Barack Ravid, Trey Yanks, like they're pawns in this game as well to try to manipulate the market. And like when they see the price kind of getting out of control, the market's not doing what they wanted to do, that's when they have to go out there and say, oh, a deal is right around the corner. We're going to have a deal today or tomorrow. Donald Trump saying that we've paused because negotiations are going so well. Meanwhile, immediately the Iranian side said, I don't know what the fucking guy's talking about. And there are some reports out there that there's like some backdoor negotiations, some backdoor, at least communications. I don't know about negotiations, but communications that have been pretty much consistently happening the whole time, not on the top tier level, not with like the well-known negotiators from either side, but, different lower level people that have been communicating. So it's again, just clear and blatant market manipulation for Barack Ravid of Axios, Trey Yanks, Scott Bessent in this category here, trying to come out and say, yeah, the American, don't worry, a deal's going to be done any second now. In about 37 seconds, we're going to have a deal done. All the prices that you're now paying quadruple for right now, like those are going to go down. And then inevitably you see the markets react. I don't know why. I really don't. I don't understand why, who's behind the companies, the corporations, and like the way in which the market moves. But why they automatically react to Donald Trump saying that we're going to have a deal, or Scott Bessent saying that we're going to have a deal, when nothing of that kind has been seen to come out. Nothing has been drawn out into fruition from any of the statements that they've come out with in the past is insane. But this is Scott Bessent again doing his best to try to manipulate the market, and it seems like he's had an effect. The last I looked, Brent and the other markets were down. I think it was like 216, 217 the last time I saw. So this is Scott Bessent's attempt as well.
And we've seen President Trump last week threatened what would have been one of the largest military campaigns, or the largest military campaign since World War II.
No, it wouldn't have been. Shut your fucking dumbass up.
Against the Iranians. And now because of that, we are in talks with the Iranians. And I think there is a chance we may have a deal today or tomorrow to open the strait and move towards.
Yeah, open the strait that we control, right? How many times has Scott Bessent gone on TV to say that we, the United States, control the Strait of Hormuz? It's our naval blockade and our, military power and prowess after that has gone to control the Strait of Hormuz. The Iranians don't control it. The Omanis don't control it. We control it. The United States controls it. Well, now here he's talking about a deal that's going to be done, which it won't be by any stretch of the imagination, today or tomorrow, to open up the Strait of Hormuz that the United States apparently controls. Why would we need a deal to open up the strait that we control already? Again, a strait that wasn't closed before we started bombing Iran with Israel when we were engaged in negotiations and talks with their leaders. You know what I mean? So for him to come out here and say, and when was this put out? Let me see. This was August 4, 7:51 a.m. So it was this morning. So again, today or tomorrow is when Scott Bessent says that we're likely to see a deal, which everybody in this chat knows is utter bullshit. Let me see if I can see pull up the oil markets real quick. See what the markets are at. Just curious how they're responding to that bullshit from this morning, if they've recognized it, if it's switched at all. No, it's down even further. Like I said, let me put this on your screen. I saw it was about 217, down about 217 when I saw it. So it's pretty much doubled as far as how much it's gone down. WTI is at 75.72, down 462. Brent crude 79.31, down 446. So again, you can see here 5.75%, 5.32%. What is OPEC OPEC was at 88 when I looked at it, I think, this morning. Now it's at 79, down 10%, down 8.87. So again, this is the market reacting to Trump, holding off the U.S. attacks, and then subsequently Scott Bessent getting on television to say that we're going to have a deal done in the next, 10 seconds. It should be done. It's actually done now. You just don't know it. You can't smell that. That's a deal that we're cooking. But yeah, so we all know how dumb and ridiculous that is. And let me see if I can throw this on your screen, because this is from Preston Stewart that he put out talking about, the strategic U.S. defeat in Iran, basically, and how people are now already writing and coming to the conclusion that this is a strategic defeat. We have lost this initiative. We have lost this war. There's no benefit to see now. There's no outcome that's going to be beneficial to the United States. There's no outcome that's going to be beneficial to the American people. There's nothing that, all of a sudden is going to change the world stance to make it better. It's not going to stabilize the Middle East. It's going to cost us billions to rebuild. If we are ever going to rebuild the U.S. bases in the Middle East, it's going to take a long time for the relationship between Iran and our Gulf partners to be to be kind of rehashed. It's like there's so much bad that has come from this. It's kind of like I said, it's easy right now for people to see that this has already been for quite some time a blatant and obvious strategic defeat for the United States, and in particular Donald Trump, Pete Hegseth, and the Pentagon. But yeah, let's just see here. This is Preston Stewart, typically diving into the war in Ukraine. Obviously, he saw something here with Iran that he wanted to touch on. This is titled "The Strategic U.S. Defeat in Iran." So I'm just curious what he's talking about here. So if you could hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. My name's Brian. This is the Blunt Politics Podcast. Again, we are the little political podcast that just keeps trucking. We're here to call out the lies, the propaganda, the bullshit of the mainstream media, the right-wing propagandists, and anybody else that's lying on behalf or, in favor of fascism, authoritarianism, or trying to diminish or degrade democracy in any way, shape, or form. So if you are agreed in any of those things that I just mentioned, if you like the chat that we have built here, the community, the family that we've built here, then feel free to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 25K. We're trying to get to 25,000 subscribers before the midterm elections. So again, we can have the biggest voice, the most weight behind our punches, if you will. But yeah, let's just see what Preston Stewart's detailing here as far as the U.S. defeat in Iran.
So the United States is stuck in Iran right now with no clear path to accomplish our objectives anytime soon. Despite the bluster coming from the White House, it doesn't seem that Washington wants to escalate this conflict to try to force Iran's capitulation, if that's even a viable option. And in 5 months, Iran hasn't given an inch in regards to their denuclearization, their proxies, or missile programs, and have now actually added a new term that they, from here forward, will control the Strait of Hormuz. In fact, some skeptics are now referring
none
to
of
this
that
war as a
has changed.
strategic.
That is all things that have remained the same since day one of these negotiations. Since the first day we started covering this and the responses were given by the IRGC, anybody remaining in power, any spokesperson, this is what they've been saying. This is what the MOU stated. Like, this has not changed. The things that have changed were on the United States side. Our demands, right? Our goals, our stated objectives in this fight, in this war, have changed consistently over this period of time. They've lied about everything that we've accomplished. They've lied about what we haven't accomplished. They've lied about what we can accomplish. They've lied about what's been damaged. They've lied about how many people have died. They've lied about how many soldiers have been injured. They've lied about the military capabilities of Iran. They've lied about every aspect of this war, and that's both CENTCOM, Pete Hegseth, the Pentagon, Donald Trump, Marco Rubio, Scott Bessent, all of the fucking cocksuckers, all of them. Every single one of them has lied through their teeth at every single moment about this. Meanwhile, on the other side, still recognizing that we're dealing with some fucking bad people, they seem to be more based in reality. Everything that they've said seems to be happening, or at least consistent as far as their goals, what they've stated, their objectives, the things that they want in return, seem to be pretty consistent. And it's crazy to have to rely upon the Iranian regime's statements and feel more trust in what they're saying, far more than what the United States is putting out, far more than what the White House or the Pentagon or CENTCOM is putting out. It's a wild place to be in. But again, this is very straightforward as far as what the Iranians have been saying, asking for, calling for the entire time. And then you can see here, he's putting on the screen, I think, what is this, Washington Post, if I'm not mistaken. It says, in Iran, the U.S. appears headed for a strategic defeat, allies fear. And I would state that we've already lost this. We have well lost this war.
U.S. defeat, which I personally think is a little premature, but unfortunately, I can see how they got there. So let's get into it. Overnight, President Trump announced that he was calling off the next wave of U.S. strikes because a deal was close at hand. How many times have we heard this at this 5, 6, 7, 8? I've lost track. A lot of people.
40 something, I believe. I'm pretty sure it's 40 something. I'm serious. How many times has Donald Trump stated that there was going to be a deal? Let's see if the AI can tell me real quick. How many times has, we'll just say the U.S. The U.S. stated an Iran deal was close. Let's see here. It just gives me an exact number if we have to go through the timeline here. It says, as of August 26, Donald Trump has publicly claimed at least 37 times. At least 37 times. And I think it's even more than that, if I'm not mistaken, that the United States was close to finalizing a deal with Iran. 37 fucking times. Like, the boy cried wolf how many times, and you still continue to respond? Like Barack Ravid of Axios, Trey Yingst of Fox News. How many times? Yeah, Dad, he told me so. The president of the United States is reporting that we got a deal right around the corner. Scott Bessent is reporting. And again, this is probably 37 times just that Donald Trump has publicly claimed it. That's not Marco Rubio. That's not Scott Bessent. That's not anybody else out there lying on behalf of this administration either. So probably got to be well above that. Since the outbreak of the U.S.-Iran war, February 28, 2026, U.S. administration has repeatedly signaled that diplomatic agreements or ceasefires were imminent. Despite these frequent declarations of progress from Washington, a comprehensive, lasting peace deal has remained elusive. According to the media and analysts, CNN, President Trump has insisted since April 26, 2026, that negotiations were in their final stages. Unreal. Let's see. Can we prove market manipulation? Can we prove market manipulation? I'm just curious what the AI response is to that one. Come on. Keep thinking. Yes, market manipulation can be proven, but doing so legally requires satisfying a strict multi-layered framework established by financial regulators. So it just gave me the broad general overview as it not so much specifically pertaining to Donald Trump and Scott Bessent's market manipulation. I was just curious. I just wanted to see if there was like a specific thing that we could call out or take to court, I should say, to make sure that these people find the justice that should be coming their way. But yeah, let's go back to this.
A lot of people have lost track. And the big issue here is that Iran doesn't take these threats at face value anymore. So President Trump earlier today or late last night said, quote, "The USA is locked and loaded and ready to go against the Islamic Republic of Iran at levels of military terror, strength, and power not seen since World War II. Despite this, we have just been asked by Iran and other Middle Eastern countries to hold off any attack and that the parameters of a deal has been agreed to."
I did the same exact fucking thing. I did the exact same thing reading this yesterday on the show. Just an idiot. He put perimeters instead of parameters, Donald Trump, and it's confused. Everybody that gets to that's like, that don't make sense. Like that's not what that word's supposed to be.
This would include the immediate, complete, and total opening of the Hormuz Strait and an end to Iran's nuclear threat. Great. All right. Take that at face value. That's, it's on the path to victory, right? Let's get that straight back to what it was before the war began. Free and safe passage, no strings attached, and the end of Iran's nuclear threat. I mean, that was one of the key reasons for going to this war in the first place. All right. Sign that document. Let's get this thing sorted out. The problem is when you get into the details, I'm just not sure any of this is real. So Israeli Channel News said that the Iranian foreign minister agreed overnight to a compromise formulated by Qatari and U.S. mediators where vessels entering the Gulf through the Strait of Hormuz would be from Iranian territorial waters, and those exiting would be through Omani territorial waters. Now, that sounds an awful lot like Iran having control over the Strait of Hormuz, which is something we're trying to avoid. That's not good. Again, that's their new term that Iran has added to the negotiations. But I'm not going to spend any more time digging down that rabbit hole because I don't think it's real. I mean, in that same article, the Fars news agency, Iranian news agency, rejected the claim, saying, quote,
again, this is the direct response that we read yesterday. There's no agreement regarding the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, and the news published about it is false, talking about Donald Trump's statements. Furthermore, a military source emphasized, as long as the United States continues its hostile actions, the Strait of Hormuz remains closed, and the passage of ships will only be possible through the designated route and with permission from the Navy of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. Oh, sorry, not the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. That's not what it's called. It's called
Islamic Republic of Japan.
That's what it's called. My apologies. I keep getting that wrong. I got to get that right one of these times. This says, hours ago, some media outlets affiliated with the enemy claimed that Iran had agreed to a plan to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, a plan under which ships would enter the Persian Gulf through Iranian territorial waters and exit through Omani territorial waters. And obviously, they're talking about how Donald Trump's statement is inaccurate as well. But let's see here. Because I just read that, I'll skip this second for you.
And
there we go.
The Iranian assessments of these negotiations more than those of the United States. To be clear, Iran has made some wild claims from the beginning of this conflict about the shooting down of countless F-35s, and regularly they state that U.S. casualties are through the roof, like into the thousands, and aircraft carriers getting hit and all that. But when you look at their statements around the diplomatic track, who's taking part, when the talks are happening, what has been agreed upon or not, historically, from the beginning of this conflict, the Iranian assessments have been much closer to reality than those from the United States.
And again, that's I haven't seen this video before. I watch this with you guys all the time, but that's exactly what I was just saying. Like, it's a weird space to be in, knowing the people that you're dealing with on the other side, but still having to kind of take what they're saying and saying, wow, well, that's based more in reality than what our government's putting out. The information that we're getting from our government, it seems to be like it's a wild place to be in. But all the military experts and analysts and the people that are watching this are coming to the same conclusion. Like, it's completely impossible to trust anything that Donald Trump says. It's impossible to trust anybody in his administration. Obviously, CENTCOM has been caught lying time and time again. So it just that's the position, the place that we find ourselves in, and it's a strange one to be in.
Because on the U.S. side, it's constantly overly optimistic. We're right on the verge of, this one, opening the Strait of Hormuz and ending the Iranian nuclear program. Really, just like that. Just took another threat of carrying out strikes in Iran, and they ceded on like the number one issue. That's crazy, right? Historically, over the last 5, coming on 6 months now, Iran's statements that these things are not in the negotiations, they have not agreed on these things, and they have not given in any number of regards, has proven to be much more accurate. Now, one of the issues here with all of this is that it's not just our allies and some here in the United States that kind of laugh off these threats. Iran does too. So we're losing leverage in these negotiations. The more times we make these threats and then don't.
And this is
follow
another
through.
point that we've been making on the show, like the reach, right? The power of the U.S. military is taking a big hit now under Donald Trump. To a large extent, a lot of people are shocked at our inability, our ineffectiveness against the Iranians, and a lot of people are not. A lot of people felt that the United States and our military, in conjunction with the with Israel and their military, shouldn't have had any problem. Should have been able to run through Iran and the IRGC with no problem, much like they did in Venezuela to capture Maduro, when others knew that that wasn't going to happen, that this was going to be a vastly different operation with a different outcome. You're going to have to go through much different roadblocks than you did with Venezuela and capturing Maduro, and all of those things that all of the military people were warning, and anybody with any knowledge on the situation were warning before we undertook this situation. But to hear, Preston, who obviously has a military mind, was in the military himself, looking at this and being like, well, the Iranian side is a lot more based in reality and seems to be a lot closer to what we are seeing drawn out on the ground than anything that our government, than anything that the United States or the White House or the Pentagon or CENTCOM seems to be pushing out there as far as information is concerned. So clearly that is not going in the direction that we want it to go. Again, everything that we just heard from Preston, and then you put that on top of this, and then you put that on top of the THAAD and the Patriots and how low our stockpiles are as far as the interceptors are concerned. And it doesn't paint a rosy picture. And that's why I was talking about how ridiculous it was for, Admiral Bradley Cooper in the United States and Donald Trump to be talking about, a 2-week escalatory period where we were just going to go all out with the bombing. It's like, where would that leave us? After 2 weeks, again, we just saw another 14 days of continued bombing that are leaving the stockpiles at what they are right now. So another 12, 13, 14 days of even more heavy bombing than what we've seen previously. Like, what's that going to continue to do to our stockpiles? And our enemies seem to be salivating and watching us expend our stockpiles with no benefit, without getting anything in return, just kind of frothing at the mouth, being like, okay, let them run out of their interceptors, let them run out of their ATACMS, let them run out of their long-range precision missiles. Like, that's when we'll strike. That's when we'll decide to, go after Taiwan, or that's when North Korea is going to decide to attack South Korea. Whatever the fuck happens around the planet, like, you can be sure that they're watching our stockpiles, they're watching our capabilities, they're watching our limitations that seem to be kind of glaring and put out there for the world to see, as far as at least, naval and air capabilities, right? Or at least how far our government and military are willing to go. I'm not saying that, if they weren't given the all out, for our all, everybody in our air campaign, everybody in their Air Force to go over and to strike Iran, that we couldn't, wipe out the country or do everything that Donald Trump has threatened to do. But clearly they're not willing. Clearly that's not a possibility, and something that even Donald Trump isn't stupid enough to try to unleash or able to unleash at that point. So, all right, let's just go through a couple clips here. I know you guys were talking about Todd Blanche's meeting, the committee hearing that he had today, where John Cornyn and what was the other asshole's name? Cornyn and Tom Tillis decided to, tuck their tail between their legs and give Todd Blanche their blessing, basically. But there was a few clips from this. I think there was a few. Yeah, here's one from Tillis where he caves. So we'll show you these cowards, these fucking spineless, soulless hacks of people that, should have done the right thing, were in a position to do the right thing, but didn't have the balls to do it. So here's Tom Tillis.
The thing that interests me, and I'm kind of curious about the speeches that come after here, is how everybody has this view of they are as pure as the driven snow, and it's the other side that has a problem. I think we both have a problem, folks. If you want to talk about weaponization, take a look at the Biden administration. Take a look at the Obama administration. Take a look at Crossfire Hurricane.
So he goes on to name the Biden administration, again, a prominent right-wing Republican MAGA talking point as far as weaponization, DOJ, and people seeking to go after their political opponents, something that is exponentially happening exponentially more now under Donald Trump's second term than anything that we've seen previously. But even Tillis here tries to call out Biden, tries to call out Obama. even he says that the Donald Trump second term here is worse than either of those. He has to admit that here.
Get the codes that Lois Lerner used in the IRS to target businesses to try and unbank them. Take a look at the prospective pardons on the way out the door that President Biden did for family members, for staff members.
Because of the ongoing threat and the promises of Donald Trump and his cohorts to, again, weaponize the government to go after his fucking family, to go after the people in the administration, right? I mean, he's speaking about the necessity of what Joe Biden saw was a necessity to give preemptive pardons because of what Donald Trump was capable of, said he was going to be capable of, said he was going to be doing, said he was going to have his DOJ do and his FBI do. And that's what kind of led to that necessity. Regardless, you could have the debate all day if you're for it, against it, like it, hate it, whatever the fuck. But you could see the reason, right? You could see the kind of the reasoning behind it. But even after that, he goes on to talk about how it's worse now than it's ever been. So even he's saying that, Joe Biden and all this, Barack Obama has to admit that Donald Trump's corruption and the way that he's weaponized his government is far and above worse than anything we've seen from any other administration, while, again, giving his blessing to Donald Trump's personal fucking attorney, Todd Blanche, to become the head of the DOJ. Like, you can't make this shit up.
In Congress. The bottom line is nobody is clean here. And until we start recognizing this behavior as bad, we're just going to one-up it.
Yeah, so nobody's clean, so we might as well hire the dirtiest trash. We might as well be as corrupt as humanly fucking possible, right? We might as well give the most piss-poor optics to not only our country, but to the world at large, that we're going to sit here and appoint the president's personal fucking attorney, who is known to be a scumbag, known to be engaged in scumbaggery for the president, is going to be now the head of the DOJ, the Department of Justice for the United States fucking government. Like, yeah, there's no red flags being put up there, right? There's no improprieties. There's no fucking, conflicts of interest that we could speak about at all. But Tom Tillis, his excuse is that, well, things are so bad, right? Things are so bad. We might as well scoop the shit up off the floor and make that shit on the floor the fucking DOJ head. I mean, that's how shit things are right now. We might as well have shit head of the DOJ. Like, fucking these cowards, absolute
Maybe
cowards.
it's a little bit more intense in this administration than the
Maybe it's a little bit more intense. Do you hear that? So again, after trying to talk about how bad he thinks the Biden administration was with weaponization, somehow bringing up Obama's name again because, black, obviously, has to go on to admit that, yeah, maybe it's worse now than we've ever seen it. Maybe there's more corruption, right? Maybe there's more sycophancy and maybe there's more fucking conflicts of interest than we've ever seen before, but fuck it, right? I mean, he promised he wouldn't do anything. We'll take his word for it. Listen to what he says.
We're just going to one-up it. Maybe it's a little bit more intense in this administration than the last one, and that a little bit more intense than the prior administration.
Maybe it's a little bit more intense in this administration. He's talking about corruption. He's talking about, again, hiring sycophants to do the king's dirty work, right? That's what he's talking about. And he's recognizing that. He knows it. He's in a position to do something about it, but doesn't have the fucking balls, doesn't have the gonads, doesn't have the fucking cojones to do what's right, to do what he knows is right. So he has to come up with this fucking whitewashy, let me say Biden and Obama as many times as possible, and hopefully people will forget that Todd Blanche is Donald Trump's personal fucking attorney, personal lawyer. Now trying to be, again, the head of the DOJ while Donald Trump's president of the United States. So that was Tom Tillis on that one. And I think there was a few where, White House kind of gives it to him. Let me see if this is one of the clips here. Appreciate it, because he got in a couple good points here, Sheldon Whitehouse.
And then you get to Ghislaine Maxwell, where a deputy attorney general flew to Tallahassee to have a private meeting with a woman convicted of participating in Epstein's depravity.
Again, this is speaking about, in case you're wondering, Todd Blanche's meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell just before she was moved to the even cushier prison in Texas. Again, that was when Donald Trump's personal lawyer went and met with the sex trafficker that Donald Trump had a relationship with for 20, 25 years, went down and had a little private conversation about what Ghislaine knew and said, hey, possibly if you don't say something, we'll move you to this cushy. We'll even give you a puppy. How about that? We'll give you a puppy. So that's what Sheldon Whitehouse is referencing here.
And what was the upshot of that meeting? Was it to get more information about who else was culpable, about whose secrets were still being kept? No. It was to get exculpatory information about Donald Trump and then reward her with a move to a club-fed prison. Now, the nominal excuse for that is, oh, she was in danger in her earlier prison, so we had to move her.
Bullshit.
How often does a prisoner allegedly facing threats or danger get moved to a less secure facility? I mean, think about it. It doesn't pass the test of common sense. So, between the botched disclosure, which revealed victims of Epstein's depravity, whose names had not been previously known, in some cases with photographic images with their addresses, in some cases photographs without being fully clothed. Where does the buck stop for that, if not with Mr. Blanche?
So again, this is just some of the retort by people that were obviously opposing. This is about the slush fund here. Let me see. There's another one here from Sheldon.
There's Epstein for you. And let me ask the letter from the Epstein victims to Senators Tillis and Cornyn to be put into the record. So next we get to this crooked slush fund Trump family tax amnesty scam. Let's take a look at that. We've got these two new pieces of paper, one signed only by Todd Blanche, one not signed by anybody, neither of which has any legal effect whatsoever. They are decorative.
So again, these are the pieces of paper that ultimately led to Cornyn and Tillis flip-flopping and ultimately saying that they would approve Todd Blanche's confirmation, thus making it go to, I believe, the Senate, the broader Senate next after this committee hearing here. But that's those two pieces of paper and the promise, apparently, one not signed by anybody, one signed by Todd Blanche, which you just heard that, Mr. Whitehouse said have no legal bearing whatsoever, are exactly what Tillis and Cornyn are basing their promises on, or their hopes on and beliefs on, basically, that Todd Blanche is going to do the right thing, again, as Donald Trump's personal attorney. And again, the clips go on here of Tillis. This is Covey put cowards, all of them are damn cowards. This is, again, the clip that we just played of Tillis. Klobuchar, more than 6 months after Renee and Alex deaths, Renee Good and Alex Preddy, when I was asking acting AG Blanche if the department would finally fully cooperate with state law enforcement in these investigations, he said it depends on what full cooperation means. Minnesotans deserve transparency and accountability. So obviously, people with ample reason to be, not approving of Todd Blanche's confirmation there. But as expected, the cowardly Republicans, Cornyn and Tillis in particular, decided to go along with the president and to go along with his personal attorney being the head of the DOJ. It says Trump gingerly goes down the stairs of Marine One and staggers across the tarmac with what looks like a slight limp. Yeah. I think that's just his fucking inherent fear of falling in front of the cameras is what that was. I know he's definitely got problems walking in a straight line. This is the humiliating cowardice of GOP senators. Cornyn and Tillis put on a masterclass in debasing themselves for Trump today, announcing their support for the manifestly corrupt Todd Blanche, despite getting no real concessions in exchange for their vote. Cornyn summed up the sad state of affairs when he pathetically claimed after voting for Blanche that there's nothing we could do to rein in the president. Here's a supercut. So just a quick generalization of what happened today with Todd Blanche, I guess.
Turning to today's agenda, I'd like to say a few words about Mr. Blanche. The Justice Department has thrived under his leadership. Among other things, Mr. Blanche has led major successes in thwarting.
I'm sorry. The DOJ has thrived under his leadership. Chucky, I know I'm surprised you're still alive too. I am. I gotta say, I'm surprised there's still air coming out of your lungs. But the shit coming out of your mouth clearly shows what's going on in the brain. And there's not much happening there, along with Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham at this point, Donald Trump at this point. Like, you're all just brainless morons, okay? You are just husks, fucking wrinkled. You're just a sack of bones covered in just saggy skin at this point, sitting there. So to say that the DOJ has been well led under Todd Blanche is fucking asinine, considering what we've seen happen with Todd Blanche, the debauchery of the Epstein files, the lies that he's told, the corruption that he's willing to stand behind Donald Trump to get across, the slush fund, all of the shit that we could talk about as far as Todd Blanche is concerned. And fucking this sack of fucking bones goes on there to say that it's been well run. It's been beautiful under Todd Blanche. Has been fantastic. It's been fucking fantastic.
Federal program fraud, ending racial discrimination, and restoring the safety.
I'm sorry, ending racial discrimination, Chuck? What? What fucking planet are you guys on? Really? What invitation do you guys send out for the planet that you guys are living on? Because it's just, not that I want one, but it's just strange that somehow all of you fucking morons decided to live on the same planet or debase yourself to this point. Really
Every
is.
assertion on behalf of the United States of America
It is corny.
weaponization fund is dead. And of course, I expect them to live up to that in any future litigation.
Yeah, he expects them to live up to their promises, of course, because if it's one thing that we know, this administration tells no lies, nor are there any sycophants surrounding this administration that are willing to lie on behalf of the administration, because we know that's not a thing. That's never happened. It's not like he told 30,000 plus lies himself, Donald Trump, in the first term. You know what I mean? Probably double that already in the second term, if anybody's still keeping track. But Cornyn tries to play this slick, because I don't think he actually necessarily says I confirm him or I approve. He kind of slips it in there like, oh yeah, I'm gonna push it forward. I'm gonna confirm him in this way. Like he tries to kind of breeze through it a little bit more than everybody else. But I don't feel like watching any more of that nonsense. I think that was kind of the expected outcome as far as the the cowardice of the Republicans. So let me see if I can jump into this update here from the professor. Again, get your Wildberry bingo boards ready. Everybody in the chat, please get your Wildberry bingo boards ready because we have more to knock off. If you got your markers ready, please get whatever you use to knock off each one of these Wildberry facilities, because we got more to knock off here, ladies and gentlemen. So let's take a look here at the professor's video. He says 2 more Wildberry factories are hit, a refinery and a ship. So again, all over, I believe, in the last 24 hours by Ukraine. So let's take a look at this real quick.
It's Tuesday, August 4th, 2026. Over the last few weeks, it feels like I don't know. It feels like I've been almost hyping you with all the things that have happened, but I haven't. It's just been lots of things going on. Same today. This is day 40 of the 40-day blitz that Zelensky was talking about on June 25th. So I don't know if something is going to change or if it's going to keep going the same direction, but there's been a lot. 380 drones going out into Russia and into the occupied territory last night from Ukraine. Here's a Ukrainian strike on another Wildberries distribution hub in Russia. Look at this. This is Radio
Anybody that's got the Wildberries hub in the Vladimir region of Russia, you can go ahead and mark that now. Go ahead and mark that now. I'll give you a couple seconds to do so before we get back into this video. So that's going to be the Vladimir region of Russia. Wildberries, I believe either 14 or 15. You'll have to inform me in the chat which one, because you guys have the charts in front of you. I don't. So let me know. But yes, this is another one. Mark it.
That's not nothing, right? I mean, that's a big hit. So this is in the Vladimir region is now almost completely engulfed in flames. Wildberries Logistics Center in Vladimir region is burning across 100,000 square meters. So what is 100,000 square meters? About 18 NFL football fields. It's a little bit smaller than yesterday, but it's not the only one either. So about 18 full football fields. Russia's Wildberries e-commerce distribution center in Krasny Bor. This is a second warehouse.
All
is
right,
suffering-
mark it. Anybody that's got the Wild Berries distribution center in Krasny Bor, I want you to go ahead and mark that down now, because that looks like it has been sufficiently hit. Fire burning, smoke plume rising. So if you can go ahead and mark that down now, and let me know if anybody's got bingo. Okay.
Catastrophic fire after Ukrainian attack on this morning. Krasny Bor in Leningrad Oblast, southeast of St. Petersburg, 154,000 square meter warehouse. And you can see what the images look like here of that. Top 10 largest Wild Berries warehouses. So that one's, that's not doing so well either. That's worth about 28.8 NFL football fields. The other one about 18 and a half or so. So yeah, that's what's going on right now. 54,000 square meter complex on fire. The facility is the company's 6th largest warehouse. Yet another facility expected to burn down completely. So yeah, these Wild Berries are just going up in flames.
Let me see. Oh, hold on. Let me go back real quick.
Facility expected to burn down completely. So
we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I'm getting, and again, you got to add in, these are ones that have been hit, but didn't seem to be, like totally taken out, totally destroyed by the subsequent fires there. Obviously, the bigger fires that you can see there, but I'm looking at 16, right? Count them again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, no, this one's just circled. My apologies. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So we got 15. My apologies. I think I counted the circle one last time. So 15 of them. 15 of them. So let me know if anybody's got bingo. And I think Dennis has a little bit more on this as well. Let me see if we can throw this one on the screen, because I think he's talking about these strikes. Let's see if there's any more information coming from these strikes here.
Yeah, guys, one more Wild Berries is on fire. This happened in Leningrad Oblast, Russian Federation.
So this must be the Krasny Bor one.
This is called Krasny Bor Wild Berry storage, and it is gone completely. Close-up perspective. Wild Berries is no more. Today is 15th warehouse that was hit by Ukrainian drones.
15 склад.
This guy is famous already in the internet, not just in the Russian one, by the way. He complains every time. So every morning he records the video. Well, I would say he's less emotional. Before he was like screaming, crying, 7th warehouse hit, and he has lots of the goods there. He is one of the main entrepreneurs of Wild Berries. He's Russian, but he lives in
It says he's one of the main entrepreneurs of Wild Berries. So somebody that probably has a drop shipping company, similar to the way that you would have one with Amazon, but just utilizing the Wild Berries facilities inside of Russia. So here, this is somebody that's been recording each day that these factories have been hit. Kind of a new video, like Dennis said, he's been kind of flipping out and crying and screaming and going off the rails. So he's kind of gained some traction, and people are liking watching his reactions as far as this is concerned. But he seems to be kind of resigned to the fate here already. You can see less emotional, less kind of animated, if you will, about this 15th warehouse. So the 14th or 15th, I don't know which one he's talking about. I think it says here just underneath him the 15th that he's speaking about. So let's see if Dennis plays the video, see what emotional state he's in here.
China and sells all of the Chinese goods via Wild Berries. But now his business is gradually collapsing. He couldn't believe, even some time ago, that Wild Berries is going to be on fire. Well, it's nothing personal, just a special military operation strikes on Russian economy, basically. Also in Moscow region, there was an attempt to hit the local Wild Berry storage in Chekhov. Well, the strike itself was precise, but it didn't cause the huge fire of this facility. Yeah, the bingo board for Wild Berries is already huge. Well, initially it was like 20, the biggest warehouses of Wild Berries, but they have many. So more of the smaller warehouses are put here. Well, in Ukraine, there is nothing.
I like how they have that labeled as Stalingrad. Let me get out of your way. See, right where I was, they have Stalingrad listed instead of Volgograd. That's crazy.
to the scale of the square meters of storages, it's not possible, basically. And Wildberries is looking for alternatives in Kazakhstan. They want to build several of the warehouses, but again, it might just compensate the loss of the single electrostall, because they're saying about 25,000 square meters. But what about the rest? What about the transition? What about the transferring of the goods, storing them somewhere? This model is not possible, so it means that Wildberries will be no more. My friends, a very important notice for the channel.
Again, this is at the same time that this is going on. Let me see if I can show you this, because this was a video making its way around social media. Clear evidence of a Russian war crime once again. Let me throw this on. Ready? Oh, sorry. Hold on. For some reason, it says it lost audio connection on the browser. Thank God I looked. So let me go here. I'm going to exit out. It's going to take me 2 seconds. We'll give it right back into that. And again, here, just the latest evidence of Russian war crimes, again, specifically targeting civilians, ones that are not enemy combatants, that pose no threat or danger, are not carrying weapons. It's illegal. It's against the Geneva Conventions, 1949, right? I think it's Article 32 in particular. We could even go in above and beyond that, as I say in this, and we could talk about crimes against humanity, which is, again, the ongoing attacks, the specified ongoing attacks against a civilian population, which is what we've seen by the Russians. But again, this is coming out of Kherson, and I don't want to make it seem like this is like a one-off. This is something that happens all the time, pretty much every single day, especially in the eastern parts of the country, in the eastern regions closer to the front. This is something that takes place all the time. This one just happened to be caught on camera and is pretty clear, and you can watch the entire thing, which is why people are utilizing it, like myself, to raise awareness, to be like, hey, this is what the Russians are doing. I didn't put this video out because this is the one and only time that they were doing it or anything alike. But check this video out where you can see a Russian FPV drone actively hunting a Ukrainian civilian, somebody that was just supposed to be setting up with his van, selling his fruits and his vegetables, trying to make a daily wage, trying to earn some money to feed his family in this difficult time during the war with Russia. And you can see him here being actively hunted by a Ukrainian FPV drone. You can see the spool of the fiber optic cable on it. Definitely got a camera on it. That camera is definitely attached to a Russian that's laughing his ass off, chasing this guy around his vehicle until ultimately it strikes the gentleman. Luckily, I think we have video of him on Dennis's video I'll pop back in on, where he survives this attack. But still, this doesn't take away from the attempt of the Russians to take out this civilian for absolutely no reason, for shits and giggles. So check this out. This is absolutely disgusting and beyond infuriating. What you're watching on your screen right now is not warfare. This is a war crime. A war crime, which is literally just a single and intentional killing of a civilian during an armed conflict. A civilian that absolutely poses no threat, no danger, and is no way actively participating in this war. This gentleman, this Ukrainian civilian, clearly trying to sell vegetables and fruits out of his vehicle to make a daily wage. You know what I mean? Just trying to earn a living for himself and his family during this hard time, now being actively targeted, hunted down by a Russian FPV drone. That FPV drone absolutely has cameras on it. That camera is absolutely going back to a Russian sitting somewhere laughing wherever he may be controlling this fucking FPV drone from, as he chases this civilian around until ultimately it strikes this civilian, severely injuring the civilian. Luckily, as I've seen reported, the civilian is expected to make it through this attack. But this on a wider basis is exactly what the Russians continue to do. They continue to target the civilians, to terrorize the civilians. And this is going above and beyond war crimes now. We could actually talk about the crimes against humanity charge going towards the Russians, which again is just the targeting, widespread or the systematic attack directed against the civilian population. That would rise to the level of crimes against humanity. So we're talking well above war crimes at this point, but this is what you're seeing on your screen. So anybody still defending Vladimir Putin, anybody still defending Russia, hop in the comments here and let me hear you try to defend this cowardice, this fucking scumbaggery by the Russian military, because this is fucking disgusting. Again, this man trying to sell fruits, vegetables, whatever it may be, out of his van to try to earn a fucking living, now being actively hunted down here by a Russian FPV drone. But again, like I said, this is part of a much bigger and more calculated effort to try to terrorize the Ukrainian civilians, the Ukrainian population. And this is just the latest and clearest piece of evidence of this fucking maneuver, of these tactics by the Russians. But yeah, absolutely fucking fucking disgusting, infuriating. Exactly why every single country needs to be standing side by side, shoulder to shoulder with Ukraine against the Russian horde, so we can stop shit like this. This is exactly why Vladimir Putin deserves to be in The Hague. This is why he and Benjamin Netanyahu should be having a face-to-face conversation in a prison cell somewhere. And this is why every commander and everybody within the ranks of the Russian military need to be held to account for things just like this. Absolutely fucking disgusting. Cowards, pieces of shit. Slava Ukraini, and we're going to continue calling out things just like this. Another war crime here by the Russian military. My name's Boston Bryan, host of a progressive podcast called Blunt Politics. We are avid supporters of Ukraine and defenders of democracy. If you want to join the Blunt Politics family, follow along on all my social media feeds. All you got to do is search Boston Bryan or Blunt Politics. Slava Ukraini, Heroyam Slava. So that is the latest. And like somebody was mentioning, I think it was Dame Dog in the chat, I do believe, and like I said in the video, the gentleman was reported to have survived. And I think Dennis has a report here on this exact same thing as well.
The channel, please press your like to this video. It helps a lot. We're asked, my friends, if you can, you may support this channel on Patreon.
1 second. I think it's right. Yeah, right here.
And they hunt the guy. Just like that, you see? This is a civilian person, not military, absolutely. It seems like this is the fiber optic control drone, but I'm not sure.
It is. Well, I mean, my opinion, it is. You can see the huge spool on the bottom of it, where the fiber optic cable kind of spools out, so that it can travel whatever distance the fiber optic cable gets them, 5 kilometers, 10, 15, 20, 25, whatever it may be.
Yeah, I cannot show you the rest of the video, but somehow this guy survived the strike. Here he is. The drone went very close and it damaged the car, but he's okay. I mean,
this is the guy here.
Not completely okay. His back is being shrapnelled, but his organs are fine, and it's a pure luck that he is alive. And it's the known fact that in Kherson, Russians just train their drone operators. They hunt civilians. Sometimes even kids, women, elderly people, they don't really care. The most barbarian army in the world is the Russian one. And before they have occupied Kherson, so according to their logic, those are not Ukrainians, those are Russians, and Kherson is their city, and they continue to unalive people just like that for training purposes.
Again, like you guys were saying in the chat, good news as far as that's concerned, but it doesn't take away the fact of what they were attempting to do, what they were trying to do as far as the Russians, and what they do on a daily basis. Like I said, that just happened to be a very clear picture, very, very easily seen and understood what was going on in the video. The FPV chasing the guy clearly trying to get away. It wasn't like the FPV was just going for the vehicle and was, allowing the guy to, no, it was clear that he was hunting that Ukrainian civilian until ultimately it got what it thought was its best opportunity, its best shot. But I just want to see here, I think there was a couple other strikes that I wanted to take a look at as far as this was concerned overnight. Yeah, let me see this one. There's a refinery hit as well.
In Syzran, a drone struck an oil refinery. Now, moving on from the warehouses, an oil refinery. There's also a fire reported in Moscow region, town of Chekhov. There are parts of temporarily occupied territories of Kherson and Zaporizhia where power outages occurred after a drone attack. So let's look at the Syzran refinery first. Pictures show one large fire raging inside the facility close to the primary refining units. I don't know if it hit the refining units. The distance to Ukraine is over 800 kilometers or 500 miles. There was also an attack on a ship in the Black Sea. At Black Sea, Ukraine drones continue to target ships trying to reach the Russian coast. The Nadezhda, I slaughtered that name.
I'd say Nadezhda. That's what I'd go with, Nadezhda. But who the hell am I?
Guess that's closer. A cargo ship was struck off the coast of Novorossiysk.
And you can see here just the sheer amount of targets that the Ukrainians are continuing to go after, something that we've talked about time and time again. There was actually another one of these Preston Stewart videos that actually detailed there's some information coming out about just how many different targets were hit by the Ukrainian military in the month of July. Let me see this one. Yeah, so see this here. So 53,000 targets as Ukraine drones struck 71 Russian targets an hour in July, which is just ridiculous. Let me see here. We'll play just a minute of this real quick.
230,843 combat missions, including 128.
Pause. play from the beginning. Here we go.
So Ukrainian drones struck, on average, 7 different Russian targets every hour of every day in July. That's more than 53,000 unique targets hit last month alone. Now,
53 different targets that were hit last month alone, in the month of July alone. Just to show you again the sheer amount of targets that are being looked at by the Ukrainian military that they're going after, whether it's ships, tankers, oil facilities, wild berries, resupply, all of it. So you can see just the sheer amount of drones. I think what did the professor say? Somewhere around 400 different missiles and drones that were sent up by the Ukrainians overnight there. So just night after night after night, continuing to degrade. And, it's, again, there's bad things that are happening. There's good things that are happening. It's tough to, and again, when somebody asks you who's winning the war, it's just, the war is what it is at this point. I feel like, you know what I mean? There's things on both sides that people could be like, well, this is a good thing that we could report on, or this is a good thing that we could report on. But I just think right now, the Ukrainians are consistently hammering away at a ton of Russian targets. And obviously now we have to talk about and continue to talk about the ability of the Russians and how they've pinpointed this, inefficiency from the Ukrainians in Patriots and missiles, anti-defense missiles to defend in and around Kyiv and other cities as well. So there's, both points and talking points that both sides could use there. But, just the sheer amount of targets that the Ukrainians continue to hit obviously has to be doing considerable amounts of damage to the capabilities of the Russian military, their resupply, the fuel crisis that we continue to talk about. So, like I said, it's tough to calculate. It really is.
Just got the July roll-up from the Ukrainian Unmanned Systems Forces, and these numbers are wild. We've even got some comparisons that we'll get into in the back half of today's video based on new data released by both the Ukrainian and Russian governments. But starting with the Unmanned Systems Forces, they say in the month of July, they completed 230,843 combat missions, including
insane. And I mentioned this on with Philip Bittner. And again, anybody that hasn't, please go check out my interview on The Edge with our friend Philip Bittner. You've seen him on Hal's show. You've seen him on my show. He's had some very prominent figures spoken to him and sat down with him at his studio in Kyiv there. Very honored to be able to do that myself. So, like I said, we're supposedly at this channel got about 21 or so thousand subscribers. So I would hope that at least maybe a quarter, maybe a little bit more than a quarter of you guys would hop over to that video and give it a watch, let it play in the background, listen to it as a podcast, whatever you want to do. But if you could go over there and support that video, give it a like, put a comment underneath it, that would be absolutely fantastic. I think it deserves a lot more play. Phil puts a lot of work into that podcast, and I would be saying this if it was anybody that sat down with him, across from him. Doesn't matter to me that it just happened to be me in this case. I think he deserves a lot more credit and a lot more people watching that podcast with the information that he gets on there. So, like I said, if anybody hasn't yet, maybe this is the first show that you're watching since I've been back, please check out that interview that I had again with Philip Bittner on The Edge. You can check it out, I believe, on both of our channels as we did it as a collaboration. So very much appreciated. But yeah, we're dealing with some really, really messed up times now. Very important times as far as Democratic primaries, very important as far as getting our eggs in a row and going into the midterm elections, going into the general midterm elections. Clearly, we're dealing with the dementia-riddled, brain-dead, child fucking baby bird-brained idiot that we have in the White House. The fact that we've virtually expended all of our long-range precision missiles in the war with Iran. We're still talking about the THAAD and the Patriot stockpiles being depleted to the levels that they are. So we're in no way, shape, or form out of the woods in the Iran war whatsoever. So we have to continue to keep our eye on these situations, on all of these situations. We'll keep our eye on what happens with Todd Blanche. I don't expect any Republicans to grow a backbone, to grow a spine, but we'll see what happens with his continued efforts to try to be confirmed as the head of the DOJ as well. And then obviously we'll continue to talk about what's going on here in the battle against Russia, or Ukraine's battle against Russia, as we look at more wild berries that have been taken out, more tankers that have been taken out, more resupply into Crimea that has been taken out. The fuel crisis continues to expand. So all of that continuing to happen. And as we continue to talk about the necessity and need for interceptors, Patriot interceptors on Ukraine's side as well, and how, again, Russia continues to try to exploit that weakness that little crack in the facade, if you will, as they continue to get hammered and lose thousands of people on the front to try to take meters at a time. So I really do appreciate you guys coming here for the news, the information, the chat, the family, the community, whatever reason it is that you guys come here and watch. I really do thank you. It means the world to me that you spend some time here at Blunt Politics. If you could like, share, subscribe, that would be absolutely fantastic. That would be going above and beyond. There's a Venmo up in the corner if you want to take a buck or two, throw that into the old Venmo machine, send it over and say thank you, buy me a coffee. I don't drink coffee, but drink Powerade. You can call it a Powerade, but everybody just uses coffee as a generalized generalized thing as far as that's concerned. Yes, thank you, Vixen. Appreciate that. We also do have a Discord. I always forget to mention that. You can also check out Blunt Politics on Discord. Don't ask me how it works. Do not ask me how it works. But if you want to continue the conversation, if you guys have a debate that's going on in the chat and you don't feel like it's quite over yet, but the show ends, then you can continue that conversation over on Discord. So Vixen, good to see you. Thank you so much for the reminder. I appreciate all the mods. And as we do at the end of every single show, we're going to go through everybody that sent in a Venmo, everybody that sent in a super sticker, everybody that hit a milestone, so I can show my appreciation, my gratitude for you guys and what you do for this channel. So let's start over here on the Venmo side of things and see who we have to thank. We're going to thank Teague. Thank you so much, Teague H, for the $20 on Venmo. Very much appreciate that. Just sent in for support, general support. Couldn't appreciate that any more than I do. So thank you so much to Teague. And let's see, I think we got a couple over the last couple days. Nancy, thank you so much for the $10 on Venmo. I'm so grateful you got Venmo to work when you needed it in Ukraine. I also love seeing you drink from my favorite mug on Phil's studio, at Phil's studio. Now it's even more special. Yeah, the Russian warship, go fuck yourself, I believe the cup was, if I'm not mistaken. And again, if you don't know what mug she's talking about, then maybe you should get your ass over to Phil's channel or my channel and watch that interview. If you support Ukraine, if you're a defender of democracy, if you have an interest in history or any just interest in my trip there in Ukraine, what I learned being under Russian missile attack, go head over there to that interview. It's a really great interview, and Phil does fantastic work on that channel, the editing, the information that he puts on the screen at the same time as we're talking. Really, really well done. So credit to him, and I, again, am hugely honored to be able to sit down, especially face-to-face in Kyiv with Phil. So thank you to Yakov as well for the $5 that you sent in, my brother. Hope your back's doing well. Hope the recovery goes well. All's good, getting better every day. It'll be slow, but I'm not going anywhere, which is great to hear. I wouldn't have it any other way. Wouldn't let you go anywhere anyway, Yakov. I'd get over there and break your back myself if you tried to run away. But no, thank you so much. Thank you to Ricky, $10 just because. Much appreciated to you, Ricky A. Thank you so much. Next on the list today is going to be Roger, which usually comes associated with Karen. Yeah, there's Karen and Roger. Thank you so much. The President of the United States is a liar and a felon, says Karen and Roger, and I don't think there's too many people out there that could honestly dispute that. I know there's sycophants and cult members out there that would dispute it, but they know better. So thank you, Roger and Karen. Thank you, DD. Donna D, thank you so much for your support here on Venmo. Appreciate the $5. Let me see. What did I miss it? Was there a there you are, right there. Thank you. It says news. Thank you with the Ukraine and the a couple Ukrainian symbols. Could be Ukrainian hearts, so I appreciate that. And then Brian H. Thank you so much to Brian H. as always for the $5. It says it's a breath of fresh air to hear you instead of mainstream media. Stenographers, Slava Ukraina, Heroyam Slava, right back at you, my friend. So what do you say we jump over here to YouTube? See who was nice enough to send in a buck or two on the YouTube side of things. David, kicking it off today in the right direction, my man. Let's go, David. Much appreciated. Thank you. And it was good to see you last night in the Zoom. Glad to see you having fun. Glad to see you having fun. I think you had a shot. There must have been some code word. You were playing some drinking game last night. Every word that was said, you took a shot. I don't know what it was. You didn't let us in on the game, but, looks like you were having fun at least. So much appreciated, David. Thank you for the $2. Thank you to Kevin Duncan as well for the $2 contribution. Thanks for your commitment and passion. No, Kevin, thank you for your commitment and your passion. It is people like you that watch channels just like this, that support channels just like this, that obviously make this entire atmosphere a possibility. So much appreciated to you for everything that you do. Thank you to William for the $1. What's that say? $1 member for 13 months. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Congratulations for being here for over a year now. Let's go. 1 month, over a year, 13 months being here as a member. William, very much appreciated. Hope you have a great night. Let's go. Eileen, much appreciated for the 440 joules. Thank you to Colleen for a later conversation. Greg Terry had a powerful video of a human targeting by Russian drones today. Got to just listen while cleaning. Love to all. Is that the one that we played? I'm assuming that's the one that we played. So again, I feel like you guys got to check out my social medias better. You know what I mean? Make sure you're keeping up to speed on my social medias, because I had that video posted earlier that I showed on Blue Sky on Instagram and stuff like that. So I was all over it this morning. But Colleen, thank you so much for the $10 contribution, and thank you. Just in case I hadn't seen it yet, everybody trying to keep me up to speed and informed, and I am very appreciative of that. So Colleen, thank you so much again. Hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you to Tina for the 10 jewels. Thank you to JD for the $5 contribution. Still better production value than Newsmax. I appreciate that. Come on, I'm much better than Greg Kelly. You know, I'm not a very pompous person, but even I can say that. Even I can say that. So thank you, JD. Thank you to Tiff as well. 10 jewels hiding. Much appreciated. Thank you to Ruben. Besant is just another liar and grifter. Absolutely. I totally agree. Sammy Joe, sending in 1,000 jewels. Let's go. GOAT trophy. Much appreciated, Sammy. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for contributing. Brian H., back at it again. Under the Welding Hood. Under the Welding Hood and missed the notification. All good. Appreciate you for being here. Gamer as well for the 10 jewels. Thank you, Mrs. Penguin, for being here for 9 months, rounding it out today. Thank you for keeping my husband sane. Oh, that's perfect. It's my honor. It's my honor and my privilege to be able to do so. So thank you guys so much for your kind words. Everybody that, again, sends in $1 or $2, whether it's via Venmo. We also have the PayPal and the Cash App as well. I think Allie B is the only one that has the Cash App, but that's all good. I'm not sure if the PayPal is up there, but if you do have PayPal and it works for you, that's also up there as well. But thank you guys for everything that you do. Thank you to the mods. Thank you for keeping this chat a safe place, or as safe a place as it can possibly be. I really do appreciate it. So I'll see you guys. What's today? Tuesday. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the Wednesday show. Don't miss out. We'll be here at 1 o'clock on the Eastern time zone. We're going to be here at about 10 o'clock on the Western time zone, and depending on where you live in the middle, somewhere in between there. So much appreciated. Hit that like button on the way out. And again, please, I beg of you guys, if any of the 20 or so thousand people that are supposedly subscribed to this channel see this ever, please head over there and check out that interview on The Edge with Philip Bittner. You can see it on both of our channels. It really is, like I said, if you listen to it in the background, if you like history, if you haven't just caught it yet and you like either one of the channels, please check it out. It would be very much appreciated. So, all right, I'll see you guys tomorrow for the doubleheader. We'll also have the tomorrow night show, as we always do on Wednesday. So we'll see you at 1 o'clock tomorrow on the East Coast and 8:30 tomorrow night on the East Coast. So either one of those, if it fits in with the schedule, feel free to pop by. All right, I'm going to be out of here. I appreciate you guys. Thank you to the mods. Thank you to the best chat ever, as usual. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Later. Thank you, Minnie. Appreciate that. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Eminem. Thank you, Game Dog, Victor, Deborah. Thank you, Steph, Luck Dragon, Dry Guy. What's up, Dustin? Good to see you, my brother. What's up, Clark? Ishi. How are you, Ishi? What's going on, Vasanta? Hey, TV. How are you? Let's go. Thank you, Bethany. Yakov, always good to see you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Let me know if you need anything. I can help in any way. Same thing to you, Buster Mike. I know that you came in late last night. My apologies. Thank you so much for showing up. Thank you to Rita. Thank you to Jim. Good to see you last night, my brother. MJ, let's go. What's up, RP? Thank you, guys.
Вітаю, Бостон Брайан. Мій позивний танцор. Я представник 72-ї бригади. Дякую тобі і твоїм підписникам за цей донат, за цю чудову машину, яка буде нас возити усіх на позиції, захищати Україну і наближати перемогу. Разом усі до перемоги. Дякую.
Thank you, Rox. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Yakov. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Mark. I know I'm always leaving somebody out. Thank you, Jen. Much appreciated. Great to see you guys. Thank you, Right Blood Rob. Let's go. Carol, thank you so much. Wes, great to see you last night. Thank you to Bob. Appreciate your pops. Let's go. Thank you, brother. All right, doubleheader, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Make sure you get your rest. You're gonna need it. Bring some beers for tomorrow. I'm gonna smoke. I feel like you're gonna need it.
God bless the United States.
Here's a thought. Grow a sack, fill it with some balls.
The kidney has a very special place in the heart. It's an incredible thing. We're inviting Americans from all across the country to come. The new form of vicious violation to our country. To officially name the undisputed. When did this come out? Never fight uphill, me boys. Never fight uphill.
Вітаю, Бостон
They were
Брайан.
fighting
Мій
uphill.
позивний танцор. Я представник 72-ї бригади. Дякую тобі і твоїм підписникам за цей донат, за цю чудову машину, яка буде нас возити усіх на позиції, захищати Україну і наближати перемогу. Разом усі до перемоги. Дякую.
He said, wow, that was a big mistake. He lost his great general. And they were fighting. Never fight uphill, me boys. But it was too late. You're a nation that just recently heard that Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat your... Our army manned the air. It ran the ramparts. It took over the airports. It did everything it had to do. You know what uranium is, right? It's a thing called nuclear weapons and other things.
Go fuck yourself.
Referred to my hands. If they're small, something else must be small. For the rest of my life, I have the curse that I have little hands.
Hey, you got a little chubby going there.
Fucking Nazis.
When you ran out the healthy arms, you ran out of really healthy. They had great arms, but they ran out. It's called sports. It's called baseball in particular, and pitchers, I guess you could say, in really particular.
Bad news, bad news. Even when it's good news, it's bad news.
Where you going? Nowhere.
Wrong. We've endorsed JP, right? JD Mandel. Wrong.
I'm just an average guy who read public documents where the
Вітаю,
elite
Бостон
said they were
Брайан.
going to
Мій
enslave us.
позивний танцор. Я представник 72-ї бригади. Дякую тобі і твоїм підписникам за цей донат, за цю чудову машину, яка буде нас возити усіх на позиції, захищати Україну і наближати перемогу. Разом усі до перемоги. Дякую.
Oh, get those lights off.